Hampton Roads has a long-running high school and college sports tradition. It's time to give them the spotlight they deserve. This is 757 Sports Talk. Here are Matt Hatfield and Coach Ed Young.
Yes, good Saturday morning to all of you, wherever you may be tuning in on this early edition of 757 Sports Talk, powered by Cova Sports TV. Like, share, and always subscribe. With the Coach Ed Young, I am Matthew Hatfield, as we talk to you yet again on a Saturday, this one in the month of April, and so much happening. Masters in the books, Final Four, national champs concluded. Ed Young's got the dog. He's rubbing the dog who's wagging a tail, probably because he hasn't been outside and he wants to go outside, and Coach will get a chance to take him outside sooner than later, and he wears his BCAV All-Star shirt. Has the dog got any treats is what I want to know.
The dog has been outside and had his water, and he just wanted a little air time. He's kind of shy, so I had to give him a little air time. Coach greets all. Good morning to everybody. Good Saturday morning, beautiful Saturday morning. And thankful for the man above, my consecutive streak still going strong.
I mean, so much is happening right now between the Portsmouth Invitational Tournament, the NBA and NHL playoffs getting ready to start. We mentioned the Masters in the books. Congratulations to Rory McIlroy. NFL draft starts next week. I mean, there's just wall-to-wall things everywhere in the world of sports. It's one of the busier times of year. That fall time in October where all the sports are happening is among that as well. But so much happening, and it's hard to keep up with it all. And we're on a little earlier than usual today because we both have television duties, which you can watch on the spot Norfolk 27 in the Hampton Roads Market and through Prep Spin for the PIT, the 72nd annual. I want to get Ed's thoughts on a little bit of that as we move it along. But so much going on, Ed. The week's been a whirlwind in a lot of ways.
Yeah, the PIT, for those who don't know, which if you're in this area, surprised you don't, Portsmouth Invitational basketball tournament, college basketball tournament, 64 senior college seniors playing in front of all the scouts of the NBA and the European leagues, the Harlem Globetrotters, and anybody that has a professional league of some sort, as these youngsters will be playing somewhere next year. When the NBA people got to decide, are they draftable? Are they free agents? Am I bringing them into my rookie camp or whatever? So, and it's a lot going on there. Some really good action. I happen to be there with you Thursday night. You've been there every night, including today. So, and this tournament like this is very unique now in the country. And as it is, it's the only one left in the country of this type. And as I was telling somebody last night, no, these aren't kids that will be picked in the top 11 or whatever in the lottery. Those kids don't go to any camps. These are guys that have a chance to play professional basketball. They're that good. And now they just have to decide, are they draftable? Very good chance some are going to go late in the first round, which means to a pretty good team. A lot of them could get drafted in the second round. There's only 2 rounds, excuse me, of the NBA draft. So we'll just see. We'll wait and see. And it's some good action. I thought I saw some good players on when I was here Thursday.
Yeah, I want to get your thoughts on some of the key players in a moment. We'll tell you what's on deck for today in the PIT. But we have some special guests on the program today. I mean, some really outstanding guests. We're going to be joined by Atlanta Hawks play-by-play voice, Emmy-award winning broadcaster, and Virginia Sports Hall of Famer Bob Rathbun, scheduled to come on at 10 Eastern this morning with us. And, of course, he used to be the play-by-play voice of the PIT. And we'll be talking about the playoffs of the NBA getting ready to get underway today as the play-in games are done. Golden State got booted out, as did the Charlotte Hornets on Friday night. So it leaves the 8 seeds, the Orlando Magic, who will take on the Detroit Pistons, and the 8 seed in the Western Conference, the Phoenix Suns, who will be visiting the Oklahoma City Thunder. And we have talked not only about the NBA playoffs, but the NFL draft, which is next week, as Shane P. Hallam will join us to talk about that, break it down. He of Draft Sharks. Folks remember he used to be with NFL Draft Countdown with Draft Sharks, and he gives you just insight like no others. You can ask about a guy that's a projected 6th or 7th round pick, and he just goes boom, 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 rattles it off, much like Mel Kiper and all the best in the business. And we'll be joined by Marcus Kahn of the Division III national champion Mary Washington Eagles. We've been teasing he's going to come on with us on the show. You'll hear from him today. Extended conversation with Marcus as we break down their run to a championship. Not every day, week, or year do we get a national champion coach from the state of Virginia on, and he was more than happy to come on with us, and we were delighted to share that time with him, reminiscing about their championship, which is not long ago. It happened earlier this month. So a lot to do on the program, Ed. We have to start off, though, with a couple of things on the local front, one on the real positive side of things, a signing, and one on the real unfortunate, sad side of things with the passing. We'll get the unfortunate part out of the way, and that was the passing of the longtime Bethel Bruins football coach, Coach Kaz, this week, Dennis Kozlowski. Rest in peace to him, and our thoughts and prayers to Coach Kaz's family and all those that were Bethel Bruins. We lost him 2 days ago on April the 16th, and 32 years coaching and teaching at Bethel. He also, in addition to coaching football, track and field, I think he won 3 state titles in the 70s and 80s there. Bethel was a real power, as you well know, back in those days, coaching in the 757. They had Allen Iverson, who was the headline player, and Coach Kaz led them to a state championship on the gridiron with Allen Iverson. His championships in football came in 1992 with AI. Also won a couple before Iverson was around in 1972 and 1974. He had that appeal to him, the real zest, the dress. Much, people talk about you being a snazzy dresser. He was one of those guys before his time in that regard on the football side of things. 10 regional titles, and will be dearly missed. Had a major legacy, 81 years of age.
Yeah, this is a tough loss. One of the veterans, good dudes, really good dudes. I got to know him a little bit. Not a whole lot of conversation with him, but I really respected what he did. He's a funny guy. And a lot of times people thought he was one of those old school stern guys, but when you got to know him a little bit, he's a funny guy. He can break off a joke or two here or there, or quick whip. I just hate seeing, I guess, it's the way the world is. We don't live forever, but a lot of the older veteran coaches have passed on. And Dennis was one of the pillars. I'll use that word again, pillars in the coaching world, especially football. And of course, he did some track too, but tough loss. Condolences to the family and the Bethel Bruin family.
Rest in peace. As he's remembered as one of the best to do it, to pick up a whistle and coach in any sport, football and track, his 2 main ones. On the plus side of things, happy for Norview's Keon Fats Mitchell as he is signed to play his college basketball. Behold the green and gold locally nearby for Robert Jones and the Spartans of NSU. He, of course, was the Tidewater Player of the Year, the State Player of the Year for the VHSL and BCAV as he led Norview to that state championship. What a career he had, wearing the Norview blue and white colors. Now he's going to wear the green and gold colors of Norfolk State. Not going to go far from home at all. So ends up landing in the MEAC with the Spartans.
Basketball-wise, I think it's a great selection. It's a win-win, both of them. Norfolk State's getting one of the best, by some people's mindset, the best in the area. And he's going to a program where I think it's tailor-made for his skill. A lot of kids sometimes miss the boat on that. Go somewhere where your skill level can be utilized. And I think this is if I can use the word, perfect matchup. And I'm excited because he stayed in state. Even more excited because he stayed in the area, actually in his hometown in Norfolk. So a lot of his family, friends can see him and all that. He just has to keep the distraction to a minimum. But I think it's just a great signing for both parties, and look forward to what this young man will do on a collegiate level. If he keeps improving as he has, this kid will have the potential for all MEAC Player of the Year, definitely by his senior year.
Well, the comp I put on VirginiaPreps.com in our article was, analysis-wise, there was some that wondered about how Joe Bryant would do from Lake Taylor. And Joe Bryant had a similar type of build, more that stocky bully ball guard who had an awesome career at NSU. I mean, one of the best in history. And I think Mitchell might even go in with more ability than Joe Bryant. So, I mean, that the expectation should be high that he can come in there and have those type of numbers. And Joe went over to play pro ball overseas. I mean, he was a big success story, and I think Mitchell has a chance to be a very similar one.
I agree. Run along the same lines. I think in terms of, Joe was an undersized power
Mm-hmm.
guard,
Mm-hmm.
and I think Keon brings at the same age, same level. I think Keon brings a little bit more. Now, will Keon progress
Right.
like
Joe
Joe
did.
did?
Yeah.
Right. Joe really did. He used his size to his advantage, not disadvantage.
Mm-hmm.
His power, his bulk.
Physicality. Yep. That
So now
physicality.
Keon has to understand that because kids got to realize the next level is a major jump from high school ball to college ball, no matter what level. And he's going D1, which is even more of a jump. Bigger, quicker, stronger, faster, much more physical. And he's a physical guard. So, if he keeps improving like he has in high school, as I said, I think by senior year, he has a chance to be a player of the year type in the MEAC. So, I'm just excited about it. I really am. I just hope he stays put, doesn't get these visions of doing well, then moving on to somebody else like everybody else jumps in the portal. But I'm happy for him.
Totally agree. I know you're excited for tonight's championship of the PIT. Who's it going to feature? Who's it going to feature? Who's it going to feature, Matt?
It's going to feature two teams that have yet to lose in this tournament.
Look at you. Mike Duman Incorporated. They're one. Yeah, coached by your buddy. And I got to mention this on the show. I'm walking out of Churchland High School on Friday night. It's after 10 o'clock. And this little fella doesn't nudge me. He says, "Excuse me, sir." I go, "Yes." "Are you Matthew Hatfield?" And instead of saying that depends, I did say, "Yes, I am." And he says, "I think you know my father." "Who's your father?" "Jeremy Jordan." It was little Hayden Jordan, Jeremy's son. And I said, "Oh, yeah, we had him on the podcast recently." And I said, "We talked about your Yankee card, your Aaron Judge card." He says, "Yeah, it's really, really cool." And then I said, "Yeah, my partner, Coach Ed Young, wants it." He says, "Oh, yeah, I know. He wants it." And I said, "He's not getting it." And he also wants me to go to Smithfield. And I said, "Yeah." And he said, "That's 100% not happening." End quote. 100% not happening is what Hayden Jordan said. We got to get that kid on the show. He was great. He was great.
I can't get them all. I mean, we tried to give him some more cards, but he's going to stay. He wants to play for his dad. I said, okay. And, I wish you the best and good luck to you, but we'd love to have you change your mind. So,
no, he can change his shoes, change his clothes. He's not changing his mind on that one, sir. He said 100% not happening. By the way, though, Mike Duman, coached by Jeremy Jordan, Gregory Ackles, and former Arizona standout guard Salim Stoudemire, they're taking on Portsmouth Sports Club in the championship, coached by another one of your Bay Rivers District compadres and former JV coach for many years at Nansemond River, Paul Hall, who went from Western Branch, took a little hiatus, came back now coaching at War Hill, and the guy that followed him at Western Branch, Charles Thomas, assisting with him, and also Paul Graham III from the pro ranks there. Does some G League from the Philadelphia area as Paul, but Graham III, that is. But we'll see some of these guards square off. Xavier Lee from Florida, Kevin Boopy Miller out of Chicago, Illinois, and SMU. Jordan Riley, he's a high flyer from East Carolina. And, of course, your favorite from Mike Duman is Robbie Avila, the goggle-wearing center who goes by College Jokic, Milt Chamberlain, Larry Nerf, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, and they'll be taking on Portsmouth Sports Club with Melvin Council Jr. from Kansas, Javon Hadley of Louisville, Trey Carroll of Xavier, and Rick Mast, the 6'10 forward from Nebraska, as well as Ernest Uday Jr. of Miami, Florida. Looking forward to a Mast-Avila matchup in the front line. At both 6'10 guys who've got some skill, can knock down the outside shot. They're both heftier type guys at 240 and above. That'll be a fun matchup, and the guards will be exciting, too, for the championship game coming up tonight at the PIT.
Okay, should be a good matchup. I like Mike Duman's squad, Jeremy Jordan squad. I think I'm not seeing Paul's group. They played Wednesday night, so I didn't see them. I wasn't there.
They played last night, so you've missed them twice now, I know.
And last night, so I missed them twice, so I'll get to see them for sure today. So I think it should be a good matchup. The Mass kid from Nebraska is pretty decent kid, but there, Avila for St. Louis, he's the crowd favorite. I thought he played well the other night. He didn't score, didn't shoot it well, but his passing surprised me. I think he was the leader in assists or second most assists in that first game of his. And I mean, he had some pinpoint laid up pass, perfect passes that you really try to teach young kids how to pass. He showed that. So I'm hoping a great game for him. And, I probably lean to see their team win it. It's only because I've seen them play before and those guards that they have too. So should be a good one. Usually championship game, PIT, usually 4 or 5 point ball game. And I'm hoping it stays that way tonight too.
Yeah, there's only been, Ed, one game decided by double figures of the 8 that have happened so far, and that was the game that Portsmouth Sports Club won over Janet King 83-66 last night in the semifinals, as they got a total of 5 players in double figures, led by the 16 of Xavier's Trey Carroll. In addition, Leger Jones of Florida State had 15 points. Rick Most had 10 rebounds, only had 1 field goal in the game, but he was a factor there. And Melvin Council Jr. from Kansas, 14 points, 6 rebounds, 3 steals to go with his 10 assists in the game, a double-double with dimes. The other game was much closer, but it was looking like a blowout because Mike Duman was up by, I think it was as many as 19, Ed, and Portsmouth Partnership made a major comeback, put some pressure on him, but Duman held him off thanks to the 24 points from Anthony Roy, who got hurt late in the game but came back. Xavier Lee had that wrist injury. Remember, he had that crazy dunk play. He played through that, but Roy had 24 points, 7 of 18 from the floor, the Oklahoma State guard. Avila had 10, didn't shoot it particularly great, 2 of 7 from 3 in the game, and Solomon Washington with 13 points. He of Maryland fame, 13 points for the ECU guard, Jordan Riley as well. So that's coming up tonight in the championship of the PIT. You have, in addition to that game, the third place game at 5 o'clock with Jenna King and Portsmouth Partnership. 2:30 is Sales Systems Incorporated versus Norfolk Sports Club. And the 12:30 seventh place game to get things started off today is Rounds Landscape Service against Portsmouth Economic Development. So 4 games going out there. If you can't make it to Churchland High in the PIT, you can watch with us again on the spot, Norfolk 27. You say, what is that? What channel is that? Well, if you have Verizon Fios, it is channel 506. If you have Cox, it's channel 44 in the Hampton Roads market. But you can also go to go.prepspin.com and find it on PrepSpin. You can watch the stream live on their website and through X on social media as well. And we encourage you to interact with us on all the social platforms, whether you're on Facebook, YouTube, X, Instagram, you name it, and chime in with what you want to hear and see and what's on your mind on this particular Saturday morning with us on 757 Sports Talk on Kova Sports TV. Like, share, and subscribe, Ed. And did you see the score of the Norfolk Tides game last night? This was crazy.
I did not see that.
Tides led the Durham Bulls at Durham Bulls Athletic Park 9-1. And then from there, Durham scored 18 unanswered runs. 18 unanswered runs to beat them. Yes, 19-9. So when you think a baseball game is over 9-1, and knowing you like I know you, you have left some baseball games when the score is 9-1. If you left, just like those folks that left the NBA play-in games this week, when the Suns were up double figures on the Blazers and blew it, and the Clippers were up double figures on the Warriors and blew it, you missed the thrilling conclusion. Although it wasn't all that thrilling because they were up 9-1 and lost by 10 runs. How do you figure that?
Somebody got bombed.
Yeah, the relief pitchers is who got bombed. That's what happened.
That's amazing.
It's very amazing.
18 runs after being down 9-1.
I know. And by the way, you know who's been one of the big bats for the Tides is the guy they call Big Christmas, John Kenzie Noel, former Cleveland Guardians right fielder. The guy that had that big home run in the playoffs a couple of years ago against your Yankees. He's with the Tides now. Only problem is he can hit home runs. They got to get outs and get some people out with pitching, and they haven't done that. They haven't done that nearly enough.
Yeah, the veteran presence that the Orioles signed and then put him down there with the Tides. I'm just wondering if he's going to be the type. He's past prospect stage. He's more of a, hanging around, see what he can do. Plus, I think he has that clause in his contract. If another major league team wants him, that he can go based on the right type of deal, that he'd be able to go on up, leave the Tides and move on to that other major league team. Mm-hmm. That happens sometimes with the veteran guys down in the minor leagues, that if the presence is wanted by another team, there's a clause in their contract. Yeah. Whether it's money or trade a player, that they can go ahead and leave.
Yeah. I also have to mention, we talked about it earlier in the show. I'd be remiss that we talked about the passing, the unfortunate passing of Dennis Kozlowski, longtime Bethel Bruins football and track coach. I'm not sure if you're aware, but you remember he was the coach just a couple years back at Lakeland High School. Keith Stagg, we lost him earlier this month. Rest in peace. And our thoughts and condolences to the family, the Stagg family, and those in Suffolk, because he was a revered person in the community. I know that one was unexpected, and it's been really painful for folks across the 757. So we want to send our best on that front too.
Yeah, that was a tough one to take. I almost didn't want to believe it. Had seen him recently, and Keith has coached at a few different places in the area. It's got a couple.
I think he was most recently an assistant at Kings Fork, if I'm not mistaken, right? I think after his time at Lakeland. I could be wrong about that, but I think that's where he was most recently. Yeah,
I think so. After Lakeland, yeah, I think so.
He's got some roots at the apprentice school. He's at Warwick. He's been at a couple of different places, like you mentioned. Yeah,
he's a graduate of Nazareth River in the late '90s, I think, or mid '90s. He was a graduate there. That was unexpected. Still don't want to believe it. Young enough that still being active in the school district. I think he was a counselor in the school district. So that was a tough one. Keith Stagg, man. Again, rest in peace, and condolences to the family and the all of the places where he has coached and touched the lives of a lot of young people.
Yeah, for sure. As we get ready to go to break here and then bring in Marcus Kahn, head men's basketball coach of Division III national champion Mary Washington. Ed, the NBA playoffs are set. The matchups finally are on the board. We know who's playing who now. We mentioned that the playing games are done. I think the real shocker, you've been on a Charlotte a couple times, what Orlando did to them. My gracious, I didn't see that coming whatsoever, as the Magic just tattooed the Hornets, who had that crazy overtime win themselves over the Heat a couple nights prior. But Charlotte ends up getting bounced by Orlando, 35-point first half lead, 121-90 as Paolo Banchero led the way with 25 points in that one. So now that we're set with the NBA playoffs, I know you said a couple weeks back you were looking at the matchup of maybe, what was it, Boston OKC? Are you still sticking with that as your finals prediction, or are you going elsewhere for the NBA postseason and what will take place in June?
I'm going to stick with that. I think a lot of people are looking at that. I've heard Nuggets, who I do think I would not be shocked if they beat OKC, or even if the T-Wolves beat the Nuggets, that they move on. I would be shocked. I think in the East, you're looking at OKC. Celtics. I think Detroit has a shot. Some people like Cleveland. I know Charles Barkley has picked Cleveland.
To win the East, really? I had not heard that. Really? Wow.
Yes, he was on Mad Dog, and he picked Cleveland, which shocked a lot of people. I think he's staying with OKC in the West. Okay. I think that's the only ones in the East I think I have a shot. West, OKC, Denver, Minnesota, San Antonio, I think have a shot.
Okay. Of those 8 matchups on the screen that are happening this weekend, you see the locations for them. We'll ask Bob Rathbun about this. Some of those games on Amazon Prime Video. ABC has a trio of them, and NBC has the last 2 on Sunday with Magic, Pistons, Blazers, Spurs, also available on Peacock. Which one is the best first-round matchup in your estimation?
Denver, Minnesota.
I think a lot of people are saying that.
Denver, Minnesota, I think is the best. And the problem is, I think that's a 6-7 game series. So now
6-7.
6-7. Yep, that's for the youngsters to play with. I think that one is probably your best matchup. After that, it's a toss-up. Everybody waiting to see what are the Knicks going to do. First time since 73. Can I get a title? I don't see a title. And of course, we got Bob Rathbun coming up, the voice of the Hawks, to see what's going on with the Hawks. Where are they at into this?
Well,
Nobody
I
talks
was
about
thinking the other day, there's a lot of folks that think the Hawks are a real live underdog in this series. I don't know that you and I believe it, but the crazy thing is they gave away Trae Young for essentially a bag of balls, and I think they viewed initially the thought was, we'll get Bob's take, long-term ramifications would be yielded from that, and they've seen immediate dividends, which is totally surprising in the sense that they got better after Trae, and Trae had some moments in the playoffs. Remember, he beat the Knicks one year, did the whole ice cold thing, and he had some success in the playoffs, but it just seemed like it ran its time, ran its course, and he goes elsewhere to the Wizards, which is basically into purgatory, and here the Hawks are trying to knock off the Knicks yet again.
Yeah, I'm anxious to see what those Hawks do. I don't think it's like they have no pressure whatsoever on them. They have played really well this last month. And it'll be interesting to see what they do with the Knicks. I'm going for the Knicks, hoping for the Knicks. Like going back yesteryears where the Knicks were a perennial playoff team, Sixers, Celtics, and Lakers. Those four perennial playoff teams, four squads that have been around NBA almost forever. Is there anybody, I throw it to you, anybody of these teams you really think has no shot of advancing?
The Magic. Well, no. I knew with the Magic. I will say the Suns. I don't think the Suns have a shot to beat OKC. I'd say they have no shot. And I think Toronto's chances are very, very slim against the Cavaliers as well. Sixers not beating the Celtics without Joel Embiid. Could get a game or two off them, but I would say those three come to mind. And I would have said Portland as well, but the Spurs haven't been there before, so that would be the one little small pause on that situation there. So there you have it. NBA playoffs getting ready to get underway. Coming up next, we've got Marcus Kahn, men's basketball coach of Division III national champion Mary Washington. It's on the way here as we'll talk with him about their journey on 757 Sports Talk. You're watching with us. Where, Ed?
One of the best places to be, the place to be on Saturdays, Kova Sports TV.
What is more? Is it more reps, more strength, more stamina? We say it's all of that, but it's greater than just what's in the mirror. It's about improving your mental and physical health. More is a feeling of achievement, fulfillment, confidence. It's looking better, feeling better, being better, and it's our mission to get you there, because here you are more. One Life Fitness.
As a banker at Town Bank, we believe that people bank with people, not with banks. You're looking for an actual personal relationship, and that's what you get at our bank. You get that person that gets to know you, gets to know your business, is there for you. I think that is what motivates us, what drives us, and the idea that we are trying to serve others and enrich lives, I think is very true.
This is 757 Saturday Sports Talk. Here are Matt Hatfield and Coach Ed Young.
Oh, it was so nice. We had to show it to you twice. And welcome to 757 Sports Talk, powered by Cova Sports TV. Like, share, and subscribe as we have a special guest with us, Coach Ed Young. I'm Matthew Hatfield. Ed, we have the head basketball coach of the national champion Division III University of Mary Washington Eagles, Marcus Kahn, with us. They won it in the thriller to capture the championship. What a season, one to remember for the ages for them. Coach, congratulations. I have to know, I imagine you're still on cloud nine from that finish and just this whirlwind of a season, but do you get chills, goosebumps when you watch that clip over and over again?
Oh, I do. Every time I see it, it hasn't gotten old yet. I don't know that it ever will. Watching that play and the way that it all unfolded, and I think it took me probably a good 24 hours before it even set in that and to take it in and believe that it actually it's like the perfect air ball, right? That it actually worked out for us. So yeah, it is. What an awesome moment for our team and our university and everybody involved.
Yeah, not too long ago on a Sunday evening at Gainbridge Fieldhouse in Indianapolis, the Eagles becoming the first men's national championship in school history, a magical season of 30-3, a sophomore for you in Colin Mitchell with the putback as you edge Emory 75-73. Take me through the emotions as a coach, what's going through your mind, because I always look back to that one a few years back. You remember at Villanova, Chris Jenkins, the shot against North Carolina, and Roy Williams and Jake Wright was cool, calm, collected. How about you? Were you mixed? Were you wanting to have an outburst? Were you looking at the clock to see what's going through your head as they tie it up and then you win it?
Yeah, when they made their shot to tie it, my first thought was, do we have time to get up a shot? And so I looked up, there was 10 seconds. We were out letting the ball on a break to Kai Robinson, our best player. So it's like, yep, let him, we are going to get a good look at this. So I wasn't too nervous, obviously hopeful that Kai got to his spot and got the shot he wanted, and he was working for it, and I think he did. I mean, he got right to that mid-range jumper, which he's been so good at all year long, and just happened to slip. Like his right foot, as he planted to go and do his shot, just kind of lost his footing and pushed the ball up. And so then I started thinking, overtime, okay, rally the troops for overtime. And then there's Colin Mitchell on the other side of the basket laying it up. And yeah, it took me a second to really go, oh, it went in. The clock, it counted, right? So it all happened so quickly. Watching Kai work with the ball to get his shot, and then slips, and it's like, okay, well, overtime's not, we'll take it. And then Colin, just something we talked about all week leading up to it, with the way they played so much zone, that let's make sure we're always crashing the glass. I think we can steal some offensive possessions throughout the game. And thank goodness he did it on that last possession there. And
it's amazing. You got out rebounded that game 47-39, but you protected the basketball, only 8 turnovers. And coach, you got hot at the right time of the year, 12 wins in a row. We talked about it, I think, a week or two ago on the show, that last year's team, 15-15, but you've done this with a lot of homegrown talent. And for Robinson, though he didn't have the game winner, you had to be super proud with the year he had in the game. He had 27 points to give you a chance to win that thing, right?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, he's been our engine that's made us go this year. There's no doubt about that. And yeah, I mean, he didn't. You look at that last shot, and okay, he didn't make that one, but what a game he had, just playing out of the high post against their zone. So efficient. Made a big 3 as they tried to pull away there a little bit in the second half. I think they got it to 6, and he comes right back down and hits a 3. And he was that way all tournament. In the game, he thought maybe he didn't have his best game, or the Chicago game in the Elite Eight. It's like, but he finds different ways to help us win. And the Sweet 16 game, what did he have? 35-11 or 35-10 or something like that. And so, yeah, I mean, what a great player he's been for us all year, and just consistent with his efforts, certainly, and finding different ways to help us win.
And 14 of the 15 players on the roster, Ed, who played their high school basketball somewhere in the Commonwealth of Virginia, including a couple in our backyard in the 757 with Anthony Lewis and Ulysses Chubbs Young of Oscar Smith. We're talking with Marcus Kahn, head basketball coach of the Division III national champion Mary Washington Eagles, our guest here on 757 Sports Talk, powered by Cova Sports TV. Ed?
Marcus, I do want to get into players and that, especially the kids from our area. And then, of course, you've got a ton from Virginia in itself. But I've got to give you some perspective on what I saw on the field. Of course, my eyes are on you the second time. You're so casually walk towards the middle of the table. And if we have the time later, we'll play it again. And I want everybody to look at the sideline where coach is at. You didn't call, real quick here, sidebar. A lot of us in the business, do we call timeout or do we get it and go? And everybody has philosophy. I think you answered the question, though. You said it went to our best player. A hell of a game. You're content with that. Here we go. Is that was your mindset, or did at any point you felt like time? No, let it go.
Well, we actually didn't have any more. We had used it.
Okay.
I want to say 2 possessions before that. However, I don't think I would have called it anyway. Now, had it been if we had one and the ball was in the wrong guy's hands, or they trapped to slow us down, then I might have. But my philosophy on that would have been, let's go with it. It's in the guy's hands that we want it to. They're scrambling, kind of celebrating still. Let's see if we can get down the floor real quick. Again, if it ended up in the wrong guy's hands, or I felt we were going to turn it over, and we had one, I probably would have. But in that moment, it's like, let's go, man. Let's see what we can do, make a play at the other end. And Kai had been so good at that. And quite frankly, had the ball been in Chubb's hands, I probably would have felt the exact same way, that he's going to get us a shot in this next 10 seconds for sure.
Well, to that, I'll say this before I continue on our camera on you.
Yeah.
That's a hats off to you, your staff, because in those situations, we remember Chris Reber from Michigan years ago, kids might hurry up and yell timeout, and then you'd be like, hey, man, didn't we tell you there is none left? Because they'll think automatically, we got to call timeout. Things are chaotic. But your kids poised, inbound, let's go, let's crash, and the shot. But I'm watching Coach Kahn on the sideline, and I see kid slips a little bit. I thought, oh, don't call travel, which they didn't. And you're watching. Now the shot goes up, your hands go up. Everybody rushes to court. Everybody's all over there. Now I'm really watching you because I'm thinking flashback to years ago, buddy of mine, Jim Valvano, NC State was running around. People said, what were you thinking? He says, I'm trying to find somebody to hug. Everybody was hugging somebody. Nobody wanted to hug me. And I watched you, and you turned around like you were looking for a hug. And the only guy next to you was an official. And you turned, you turned and looked at him, and I said, is he going to do a Danny Hurley? They got to bump heads. Because you got close. I said, oh, my God, because everybody's watching the pile up and excitement. Yeah. But I'm watching you because we've seen the film 3-4 times. I said, I got to watch Coach on the sideline. I want to see how he did it. And you kind of were like, and then like you wanted to hug, you turned around, and the official's right there. And it's classic. And then, of course, then it set in. It was like, they're not putting time back on the clock, correct? So this is real. Damn, we just won.
Yeah.
It's kind of what the look you had, man. And like I said, that would be something that you'll be able to treasure forever. And also the young fellow that took the shot, what he's going to say to his grandkids. That was one hell of a pass, like Derek. Same idea.
Oh, absolutely. And so, yes, my with my reaction, that was just it. That I was wanting the official to. I was looking for the affirmation that one, they were going to count the shot. And then I started thinking, okay, it's good. It's definitely good. And then the longer it took for them as they're looking at the monitor, I thought, oh, please don't add. Like, here's our guys on the far end dogpiling. And now I'm concerned they're going to add 0.2, 0.3 onto the clock. And then now we got to, get our focus back real quick. But definitely somebody had asked me the other day, all right, confirm for me. That was a shot, not a pass, right? I said, oh, hell yeah, that was a shot. Don't let anybody tell you different.
Kai might argue a little bit, but
right.
It's funny though, because we see it all the time in football and basketball. They're always looking to see if there's going to be an extra player, and it's like, oh no, the premature celebration. You got to get everybody off the field or off the court for storming the court or the field, and it's like, oh no, it's the worst nightmare for a coach.
Yes. Oh, that was. It became my concern as I went and met Coach Zimmerman to shake hands, and we were standing there, and he congratulated me. I said, don't say it too soon. I appreciate it, but he said, no, I had a good look. It was good. And then my brain started turning to that. Like, are they going to add time to it? Please don't add time to this. So it worked out. It worked out perfectly.
I'd like to know, before I let Ed jump back in here, the Division III quality of basketball. We'll get into your background on some of these kids too and how what they've done. Randolph-Macon's won a championship. Christopher Newport's won a championship. Virginia Wesley's won a championship. Other teams have been in championships too, like Hampton City's been to the title game. And you guys had a big beating of Wesleyan by 41. You also lost to CNU and Macon back-to-back, but then you avenged that win over CNU. Twofold question. Was there a turning point for you in this season, maybe that revenge win over CNU and maybe even something before that? And two, how much is just the quality and competitiveness in the state, whether it is the teams in your conference or outside it, the Wesleyans, the Macons, the CNU, how much does it all make you all better in your eyes?
Oh, I think the state of Division III basketball in the state of Virginia is incredible right now. I mean, I don't know how anybody could argue against that we don't have the best Division III basketball going. And I think that's been proven out, right? 3 of the last 5 national champions are from Virginia, and then you throw Hampton-Sydney in there, who got to the championship game. You had CNU and us in the Final Four this year. It's just the college basketball right now, certainly at the Division III level in Virginia, is really on top. And I think it's so good for us and good for the sport, and really good coaches across the board, good players throughout the state, and so it's a lot of fun to compete, and I think that sharpens everybody's game. You have to be on your game. There's no night off, in conference, non-conference. It doesn't matter. We run the gauntlet through the ODAC in our non-conference games, as does Christopher Newport, and so we know that we're gonna be up against good teams at every night. And yeah, I agree with you. I think I don't know if it was a turning point for us, but something that gave me confidence that, we're gonna make some real noise this year. It was late in the year, coming off of that 2-game losing streak where, first of all, very few people go into CNU or Macon and win. And so I wasn't overly concerned about that, but I was concerned about our response to it. And, with the next game being CNU again right away, it was like, all right, we're going to figure out what we're about. This could, a third straight loss, certainly back-to-back to CNU, could really stem the tide for us. But we found a way, and I thought we played really well. It was one of our better games we played all season. Our guys were locked in. And so to bounce back against a really good team like Christopher Newport, coming off of a 2-game losing streak, I thought, okay, we've got the resiliency it's going to take once we get into the tournament.
He is Marcus Kahn, head basketball coach of the Division III national champion Mary Washington Eagles, our guest here on 757 Sports Talk, powered by Cova Sports TV. Ed?
Well, Coach, one more thing about that conference. If I'm not mistaken, you're not in the ODAC, correct?
Correct.
So correct. Your conference goes coast to coast, if I'm not mistaken.
that is right. Yeah.
Because I don't think a lot of people know that, because I've heard some people say, hey, another ODAC school won a national title. And I was quick to say, no, they're in one of the most unique conferences at any level, basketball, sports in the country. Talk about that to us.
Yeah, so it's called the Coast to Coast Conference, and it's literally coast to coast. We played our conference tournament this year out at UC Santa Cruz in Santa Cruz, California. We actually got to play the championship game in the Warriors G League facility, which is pretty neat, the Santa Cruz Warriors facility. Which was a really cool experience. We played the semifinal games on campus at UC Santa Cruz, which is a cool little gym that they have. But then we got to play the finals against CNU down in the Warriors G League. So what an awesome experience for our guys. But yeah, we are kind of a conference made up of teams that were independent. That didn't have a conference or were looking to get into one. And as the capital, which we were a part of, kind of broke up, us, Salisbury, and Newport were kind of left there together. And so we grabbed some schools from all over. Initially, it was Pratt up in New York City. We have Warren Wilson in Asheville, North Carolina. We just added Johnson and Wales from Charlotte. We added Regent from there in Virginia Beach. We have Santa Cruz. So we're and we're looking for more schools and adding, trying to add more to it. But it's funky in that we really don't have to play each other until the conference tournament, which is different. And I like that because now we get to schedule anybody and everybody during the season. It makes it very difficult once January rolls around for scheduling. But as we're begging everybody for their bye date or if they'll squeeze us in on a Monday night or something. But it's worked out because it allows us to really challenge ourselves in the non-conference. So we're playing Newport twice in conference, Salisbury, who's always good. But then, we're playing Macon, Virginia Wesleyan. We played Swarthmore this year, who, again, another team that's made a lot of runs in the national tournament. We've played Hopkins in the past. We've played Hampton-Sydney in the past. We played Gettysburg this year, who was in the tournament. So we really... It gives us an opportunity to really challenge ourselves night in and night out. And so I know our guys really appreciate that and enjoy it.
So very cool, Ed.
Oh, Coach, your background. All right. If you would please start from, let's go way back, high school days, which might only be a few years for you. College days, and then when you got your first, venture into coaching all the way up to now at Mary Washington.
Yeah. So high school days, I went to Hanford High School. I'm from Hanford, California, a small town, agricultural town right in the Central Valley, just south of Fresno. So not stereotypical California. Everybody thinks I was at the beach all the time. No, I grew up out in the farmland of the Central Valley of California. Went to Hanford High and then went to the university. From there, went to the University of Redlands. And really fell in love with the idea of coaching during my time in college. Wasn't sure exactly what I wanted to do, like most college students, kind of changed my major midway. Came home one summer trying to figure it all out, and worked high school camp with my old coach. And that it just clicked where, yep, this is what I want to do. I want to teach. And coach. So I went back to school that next year and changed my major to history. Thought I would be a history teacher and a high school coach. Then a guy that was a graduate assistant when I was at Redlands got his first head coaching job in Iowa, where he was from, Coach Wagamaster. And he called me one morning, and I was literally just signed up to be kind of an in-house sub at Hanford High and help coach the team there. And he called and said, "Hey, if you can get to Des Moines by Monday, I have an assistant job open for you." And this was at Grandview College in Des Moines, which is a NAIA school right there. So I hung up. This was on a Friday morning, and so I had to find my way to Des Moines by Monday. Did it. Obviously, they had to talk to my parents, and with their support, was able to get myself out there to Des Moines. Coached 1 year. There at the end of that year, I got what brought me east was I got a graduate assistant job at Wesley College in Dover, Delaware. So I was there for 2 years, got my master's. And at the end of my time, as I was graduating, I was at, I don't remember, I was just reliving this with Coach Tyler 2 weeks ago, but I believe the Final Four was in Minneapolis that year. And I was talking with another coach that I know and just asked him, "Hey, do you know anybody that's hiring? I'm graduating here in a month or so and looking for an assistant spot." And he said, "Wait right here." Went and grabbed Ken Tyler or Coach Tyler, who introduced me to him. He was looking for an assistant at Albright. So I moved up to Reading, Pennsylvania from Dover and worked at Albright for a year as an assistant. At the end of that year, he got the head coaching job at Shepherd. So I went with him to Shepherd University in West Virginia and spent 1 year at Shepherd with him. And at the end of that year, got the head coaching job at Pitt Greensburg, which was my first head coaching job up in just outside of Pittsburgh, a branch campus of Pitt, and spent 6 years there as the head coach. At the end of those 6 years, I moved to Cabrini College right outside Philadelphia. Spent 6 years at Cabrini and then found my way here. Actually, Coach Tyler, the guy who kind of helped start it all for me, was the AD here at Mary Washington, and their job came open. And he called me and said, "Hey, you got to come down and take a look, see what this job is about, hear me out on it." And here we are. So it's a great, a lot of moves in there for me, but so many great experiences and good people that I've met along the way to help me get to this point.
And I believe this is your 12th year, right? Just finished
Yes. Yeah. 12th year here at Mary Washington. Yeah.
To do it with so many homegrown players. That's the other thing that's been amazing, right, Ed?
Yeah. And I was going to ask that next, but what I want people to understand, this guy's not an overnight success. If you listen to what he did, that's what we call back in the day in the business, paying your dues, which is a term we don't hear much anymore. As dudes get right out of college, get a GA for a couple months, and boom, they want to hurry up and get a big time, get me on TV job. And people listen to what you did, they're going to say, damn, how the heck did he last so long to make it? But that's what you call paying your dues and moving. And think about it. A lot of that situation, I'm going to assume you were single at the beginning. If you have a family and you've got to move where a potential job is, and you have to make a decision. Do I move or do I let it go? Because I got family that I can't move them. Might have a kid in school. That's a part in coaching a lot of people don't understand.
No, and you have to be. It's funny. Yeah, I mean it is. You got to be so willing early on to move and take any job at any time. And a lot of those first assistant anyway, until I got to shepherd, the assistant coaching jobs were part-time. I mean, that first job in Iowa, I moved from Hanford, California, or Redlands when I had graduated, to Des Moines, and I worked. It was a part-time job coaching, and so I worked at a Brugger's Bagels in the morning, and I'd get up at 4 a.m. and go in and make bagels until about 9, I think, and then I would go meet the head coach in the office, and that's kind of how I survived that year. Was doing that. The end of the year when the 4 a.m. stuff got a little tough with all the recruiting and traveling as I was learning. I then switched to some part-time work in the storage at Gap in the mall. So I would unload boxes and then organize all the clothes in the back room at a Gap, just to that was my paycheck. And that's, I went from that to a GA spot where I lived in the dorms. And yeah, it's different today. It's just a lot different today, where it's kind of my question anytime I've talked to somebody interested in being assistant, like, all right, what are they willing to do? Or if somebody says, Coach, do you know somebody that's looking for an assistant? And there've been a couple times where I've said, yeah, I know some guys back home out west that have a spot. Oh, well, I don't really want to go that far from home. And, my thought's just been, man, this profession is way too competitive to be picky. And I just, I'm so fortunate to have all the experiences I've had. When you're young, single, just out of college, what's the difference, man? I mean, it's like, I want this to work, so I got to be willing to do whatever it takes.
Oh, very much so. It's an incredible story, and you do it with so many different players. We can go down the list of guys. Kai Robinson, I know Jay Randall, Patriot High School, you got multiple guys. Oscar Smith, multiple guys. You've really made it, I think you and your staff, an emphasis, a point to get high-level players that could play at a lot of different places, regardless of levels, Division 1, 2, 3, from winning programs. That stuff matters as you build things, doesn't it?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I think that is become more and more important to us, that the winning is a priority, but that they also know how to win, right? Coming from winning programs, we got the Patriot kids, and a lot of guys ask all the time, man, why do you keep going back to Patriot for guys? Well, they win, and I think they do. Their coaching staff there does a tremendous job with their kids, and we've been fortunate to get some kids from Hayfield. It's what I've loved about getting to know Griff there at Oscar Smith. When we recruited Chubb, and then it was easy to go after Ant after that. And we're very fortunate to have both those guys, and we're trying to keep that pipeline open too. I think once you can get guys that are used to winning, know how to win, want to win, and you get them all together, then it's the hard part then is making it all work.
Very true. A couple more minutes here with Marcus Kahn, head basketball coach of the Division III national champion Mary Washington Eagles, who won themselves a thriller over Emory 75-73 back on April the 5th in Indianapolis, part of the Final Four weekend. All the levels, Division I, II, and III, were celebrating their championship runs to glory. And Emory fell short against Mary Washington, which closes out the season 30-3 overall, perfect 16-0 on the season at home. Ed, it's 757 Sports Talk on Cova Sports TV.
Well, Marcus, we alluded to some of those players. Being that we're based in the 757, talk to us about the two youngsters you have from Smith, and then go ahead and segue into your other kids. Especially your seniors, guys that have been with you, been in this journey with you, and finally get a chance to experience a national championship. A lot of kids play a lot of college ball, never get close. So start with the fellows from Smith, and then go ahead on some of your other guys.
Yeah. So for me, it all started when I was, 2 years ago, I guess. I was at Pittsburgh for the big Jam Fest up there recruiting, and I knew I needed to get, focusing on the Virginia teams. And so I went and saw Team Loaded, the 757 team play. And here's this little point guard out there that, to me, he caught my eye immediately, the way he competed. He was so quick with the ball, didn't turn it over against good competition, reminded me of a guy that I had recruited years ago to Shepherd from Maryland. And so I just, went back, watched a different game, watched him throughout the weekend. And then, when I got back, it's like, all right, I got to figure out who this Ulysses Young is, man. I love this kid's game. And so got in touch with Coach Griff and built a relationship with him. He and his mom and sister came up for a visit later that summer. And we were in need that in that class, we were certainly in need of a point guard. And I kind of put him right there at the top of our list. And, once we got him into the fold, and it was really recruiting him and Kai Robinson at the same time. And we weren't hiding that from each other. Like, we told Chubb, hey, we're recruiting this other kid from Alexandria City. Both of you guys are first team All-State kids, but we want you both, and you're going to play together, and it's going to really work. And if you both trust us, we're going to win a lot of games. And we're going to focus on the two of you. And I want to say it was game 4 of their freshman year where I was trying to kind of bring them along. And I thought something just wasn't clicking, and we had a bad game on the road, and third or fourth game of the year. And we came back from that at North Carolina Wesleyan. And I said, that's it. We're starting them. And we're just trial by fire, man. We need these two on the floor. And ever since then, Chubb's been a starter for us, been great. Had some massive games and big shots for us. Even including this last little tournament run here for our team, that he just hit some big shots at big moments, and been a great defender, all of it. So in watching, getting to know him, getting to know Griff, obviously now trying to continue that, getting kids out of the 757, which is hard because of the schools down there that they've got to pass to get to us, makes it hard, but. Then watching Anthony Lewis last summer, down in Virginia Beach there at the not the convention center, but across the street, the sports center, during the tournament, AAU tournaments, that I thought the same thing. Like, here's a kid that's just smooth. He's got the skill set that we need, that we're looking for. And I think he's going to be a good fit. And, for me now, especially if Griff gives me the nod that, yep, this is the kid, then I take his word for it. And it really worked out, built a good relationship with he and his mom and dad. And we're so fortunate to have both those guys on our roster. And, this year for Ant, it was a little tougher to break the lineup. We returned pretty much everybody from last year's team. And so he got this year to but he did play some big minutes for us early in the year. Tell you what, we were out at Texas, and we had lost it was our first loss of the year to St. Thomas. We were in San Antonio, and we came back the next day to play Shriner, and I thought we were just struggling. So I kind of went deeper into the bench and put Anthony Lewis in just to see what would happen. And I want to say he went 5 for 5 from 3, something like that, and led us in scoring, and really proved himself in that moment and helped us win that game. And so that to me shows that the future with Ant is really bright, and we're excited for him moving forward. in that class with Chubb, as I said, like it was Kai Robinson. And again, we sold them both on the same thing. Like, we want you both playing together. It's not come in here and compete against each other. You're going to be our backcourt for the next 4 years if we can get you both. So we used each to help recruit the other, not as a distraction or, trying to hide the fact that we're bringing another guard in. We wanted them to know exactly what our plan was, and we were fortunate to get both those guys. We have the two Patriot guys, Jay Randall and Caden Bates, who have been great for us. Both have gotten so much better. They're juniors. Both started every game this year for us as juniors. Jay really started to take off at the end of his freshman year. And has really just improved his game so much. He plays the 5 for us at 6'5", and so you go back and you watch us play and really anybody this year, and he's guarding and going up against guys 6'8", 6'9" in that championship game. Emory, I mean, their size in the post, they were 6'8" across the board down low. And I mean, Jay does not back down from anybody, and he just finds different ways to get it done, which is it's so much fun to watch, and so fortunate to have him with us. And then Caden was his teammate. They're roommates. They've grown up playing together since middle school, and so those two are inseparable. So to have both of them with us is great. Our other starter this year was Jaden Burgess from Harrisonburg, and he's really the only guy we're going to lose. We'll see. But to graduation, he's actually athletically a junior, but is such a good student. He's going to graduate a year early, and so it's if there's a downside to having good kids, I guess that would be it, that they take care of their business and they get it done in such a good fashion that he's got an opportunity to graduate early. We don't have the master's degree at UMW that he's looking for, but I mean, he's going to get picked up and placed somewhere in that final year and get his graduate degree as he deserves to. And he's been a good, getting started every game for us this year. Started for us last year as a sophomore. So and we'll see how this crazy world of the portal stuff shakes out, but it's we stand to bring everybody else back, which is incredible.
That's great, Aaron. You bring up Jaden Burgess. I'd be remiss not bringing up his dad, Don, who was a heck of a player back in his day, all Big South performer at Radford, coached at Harrisonburg High School. And speaking of dads and sons, your son, Sam, who we got to watch at the VA Live last year, Ed, up there in Springfield at the big facility there. Sam had a heck of a freshman efficiency, 14 of 25 from the floor, but he did not play for you, did he, Marcus?
No, he's up there at I love that picture. He's up there at DeSales University up in Allentown or Bethlehem, PA, and doing great. I give him all the credit in that decision, in that my wife and I, we said, you decide, but he said, I want to go forge my own path. And, if I stay and play at Mary Washington, it'll always be people will always be able to say that it's because dad's the coach. And I just want people to know that I've earned it. And whether it's 0 minutes or 40 minutes, whatever it is, I want to know that I earned it, and that it was because of that. So he kind of, he to his credit, man, he had a really good summer going into his senior year, and caught the eye of several different Division III schools. And we went and did the visit. The only thing that was really important to me was, one, obviously good education, and two, that he was going to play for a good guy that I knew would help him develop. And that's what I want for our guys. Come in, leave better than you entered it, as a student, a person, as a basketball player. And for us, DeSales checked all those boxes, as did some others. But when it came down to it, Sam just ended up choosing DeSales. Had a good freshman year. I mean, again, going into it, I'm so happy to turn on the stream after our games or on an off day, and any minute he gets, certainly as a freshman, is just, for me, such a proud moment. But with the crazy, I guess if there's a good thing to this coast-to-coast conference schedule is that we had a couple Saturdays off in January, which as a coach is pretty annoying, but as a dad whose son is playing is pretty neat. So I got to drive up to Pennsylvania and catch a couple games this year, which was a lot of fun for me. So yeah, if it's not UMW, I'm watching DeSales games.
Awesome
Now,
stuff.
let me give the real story. Mom said, "Oh hell, we get more money at DeSales. We're not going to UMW. Forget that. That NIL deal was better because the son said all the dad is offering me is free dinner. I mean, I get that anyway. So
No.
the NIL deal.
I wasn't even offering that. Mom was offering that. Mom was offering the free meal. I was like, no, you listen, you're going to stay in the dorms. You're going to get out of this house and do some growing up, man.
Now, and the second thing, now you have a lot of openings in your schedule because of your conference. Yeah. So we're going to look forward to a UMW DeSales matchup. Father-son.
Oh, listen.
Your son hitting the three, turning around at the head coach and the other team, shooting pistols at him.
Oh,
see it happening.
Oh, listen, if I don't schedule that game, little brother's going to schedule it. My youngest all year long was like, Dad, play Sam. You got to play Sam. So little brother's going to be he's going to broker that deal, I think.
What little brother is what grade's he in?
He's in 5th. Okay. He's in 5th grade. So, yep. He is, but he was Sam's number one fan watching him play at Massaponax for those years. And, he was locked in on our runs. It was really neat. So we got to Sam came. His spring break was the first round of the NCAA tournament this year. So he was here when we were hosting the first and second weekends, and then obviously we make it to Fort Wayne to the Elite Eight, and he couldn't miss that. So we flew him out there, and then we flew him back out to Indianapolis to be with us during the championship game, and so it was good. It was really good to have that time with him, and I took him 2 years ago when the Final Four was in Phoenix, and I went out for the convention and so he and I had a really good, that was a good bonding father-son time at the Final Four, and gave him that experience. And it might have been, other than this past one, maybe my favorite Final Four that I've been to. So what a good time to have a son that's forging his own path in the basketball world, and I love watching it.
So now, 5th grader, is he got some abilities? He going to be a good one?
He does. He's going to be the one that is going to force his way, and he won't be scared to play for Dad either. He'll be the one that jumps right in.
I'm going to take care of that. Being a high school coach that I am, even though we're a little distance from Fredericksburg, Smithfield, I can get him somehow housing in our area, bring him on smooth. And then he can play for Dad maybe, after high school. I don't have any problem with it. We'll just make sure that we get away from that idea of Dad browbeating you every day because you got to hear him. So,
that's right.
I mean, I'm not recruiting now because this is a different type of year now, but if he goes into 5th grade portal, I'll be looking for him.
There you go.
Well, Coach, it's an absolute pleasure to talk with you. Congratulations to you and the Mary Washington Eagles on what an outstanding job to win the national championship Division III. It is so very hard to win any kind of championship and to go through the road you went through there. Hats off to you, your staff, your players, everybody there. Fantastic work. We look forward to talking to you down the road. Thank you so much.
Oh, thank you for having me on. I really appreciate your time.
Hey, Marcus, I also want to say, be ready because I'm on the High School Basketball Coach Association, BCAP, here in Virginia. I'm going to lobby for you to speak at our clinic at Charlottesville in June. Your national title. Who else are we going to get any better to talk about whatever it is you want to talk about? So be ready. You may be getting a call from me sooner than you think.
I would love that. That'd be terrific.
Appreciate you, man. Congrats.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Head men's basketball coach, the Division III national champion, Mary Washington Eagles, our guest here on 757 Sports Talk. Don't touch that dial. Make sure you're always liking it, sharing it, and subscribing to Kova Sports TV. It is 757 Sports Talk.
For any athlete, making it to the top sometimes comes with a few steps back. That's why parents count on CHKD Sports Medicine, advanced diagnostics, treatment, and rehabilitation for sports injuries, just for young athletes like yours. With convenient locations across Hampton Roads and a whole team of experts here to keep your favorite player at the top of their game. CHKD Sports Medicine. Learn more at chkd.org or call the CHKD Sports Injury Hotline.
Kova Painting. We don't just paint, we transform spaces. Visit kovapainting.com or call 757-550-7357 and mention the Sportsplex for 10% off of projects over $1,000.
What's up at DQ? Oh, just the best deal ever! The $7 Bacon Cheeseburger Meal Deal. Bacon cheeseburger for a limited time, plus fries, drink, and a sundae. Yeah, this is not the time to be modest. It's all full size for just $7. And there's bacon on that burger. The $7 Bacon Cheeseburger Meal Deal. Now, for a limited time on the $7 Meal Deal lineup. Only at DQ. Happy tastes good.
Hampton Roads has a long-running high school and college sports tradition. It's time to give them the spotlight they deserve. This is 757 Sports Talk.
Usually it's Hatfield. That's why I try to tell everybody, get on Hatfield. He is the legal scribe, the talking head that knows all this, puts the whammies on. We do things different on this podcast. That's why we're rated number 3 in the state.
You got Play-Doh? Get out of here! We got people all over the globe watching with us. Sitting in a phone booth with you would be very...
well, now, we got to have your own phone booth. I'm not sitting in a phone booth with you.
It is 757 Saturday Sports Talk here on Cova Sports TV. Like, share, and subscribe.
And now back to Matthew Hatfield and the evil basketball coach. Blast you, Ed Young!
Pretty cool looking bobbleheads there. So we're back here on 757 Sports Talk, powered by Cova Sports TV. Like, share, and subscribe. Speaking of bobbleheads, did you see the Caitlin Clark Indiana Fever bobblehead?
They got to redo that.
It looks like Mike Bibby, doesn't it? That's not Caitlin Clark. It looks like Mike Bibby, the former NBA player from the Sacramento Kings.
Mike Bibby somewhere and got him mixed up. That's Mike Bibby. Excuse me. They got to redo that.
That's not Caitlin Clark.
Yeah, that has to be.
Caitlin, I would be just absolutely flabbergasted and alarmed. I mean, just terrible.
Not good. Not good.
Yeah, very, 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 very strange.
I don't think it's even close. It's not even close.
Yeah, I mean, just it looks bad. Speaking of bobbleheads, if you had to get bobblehead of one sports person, who would be your ultimate bobblehead you'd like to have?
Oh
I think
man,
you got a couple in your background back there.
Well, you know, I got my agent here, Vinny Vanu.
Who'd be your go-to bobblehead?
Probably my childhood heroes in the sport: Mickey Mantle in baseball. Wilt Chamberlain would be a good one in from basketball. Football, I never had one guy when I was younger that I really was enlightened for, like a stud. Never really had one. It was like year to year, somebody different. And then probably overall, I probably wouldn't mind Ralph Cramden and the Honeymooners.
Ralph Cramden.
Jackie
Wow.
Gleason, yeah, that's Ralph Cramden.
Speaking of, you know me, I'm a big Karl Malone, Kurt Warner, those are my guys. I met John Stockton at the PIT. Larry Fitzgerald would be up there too. I don't have a Larry Fitzgerald with the hair bobblehead. I want one of those. Speaking of bobbleheads and statues, and there's always been some mess ups with statues too. I think of Dwayne Wade's. Did you see that the Ichiro bat broke during the statue unveiling at T-Mobile Park the other day? Did you see that the bat broke? A piece of the statue was damaged when they pulled the tarp off.
They said somebody made a comment. It was the only thing that could stop him from hitting was when he unveiled his thing and broke the bat with the covering. And I guess they fixed it. So.
Crazy. Hey, speaking of hitting, we're going to be hitting you hard and fast with the NFL draft coming up. We hope to have Shane Hallam from Draft Sharks on next week's show to talk about the NFL draft, which is around the corner. And with that in mind, it's time for us to play, which we haven't done in a while, a little buy or sell NFL draft style. Are you ready?
Always looking for buy and sell.
And, oh, by the way, we're going to have Marcus Kahn, we hope to have from Mary Washington, national champs. You'll see that on ticker Division III on next week's show as well. But here we go. NFL draft, less than 2 weeks away. Buy or sell, Edward, over 1.5 quarterbacks in round number 1. We know Fernando Mendoza is a mortal lock from Indiana, the Heisman Trophy winner, national champs, to go to your Las Vegas Raiders. Will Ty Simpson of Alabama sneak his way into the back part of round 1? Some mocks say yes, some mocks say no. Over 205 if you want to go with over 1.5. Under plus 155. Decent little price there. You going to take the buy and over, or are you going to sell and take the under? Only one quarterback in round 1. You know, it's always quarterback heavy, although this year's draft probably not going to be as quarterback heavy as next year's draft when Arch Manning of Texas headlines that crop of QBs.
I'm going to sell it. I don't think some people are going to look hard at him. I don't think they're going to do it. Mendoza will be the only quarterback in the first round.
Really?
Yeah, I'm feeling stronger about that, even though Phil Simpson's stock is going up each day.
Phil Simpson or Ty Simpson?
Simpson.
Okay.
I go with one quarterback, Mendoza.
Okay. Well, I was convinced to say just one quarterback myself, but I can see towards the end of that first round somebody just getting a little desperate, not worried about their positioning for round number 2, and I'm going to buy it. I think there will be that second towards the very end. Someone will trade in to the first round to select Simpson, probably at pick 28, 29, 30, somewhere in there. I'm going to say just at the very end it happens. So I am a sucker. I could be dead wrong on this, but I think there will be 2. I can't remember the last draft was only 1. I'm going to buy it, even though you saying sell, and I was inclined to say that. Once you decided to go with buy, I went the other way. How about running backs, though? Your guy, Jeremiah Love. Not Jeremiah was a bullfrog. Jeremiah Love of the Notre Dame Fighting Irish. We've seen some some running backs really get a lot of attention. The Christian McCaffreys, the Saquon Barkleys, Bijan Robinsons of the world. What do you think? There's a lot of mocks that have Love going to the Titans at number 4 to team up with that offensive backfield with Cam Ward, who was the first pick last year, the QB from Miami. Under 1.5 is the play here, and it's minus 1,000. So they're saying there's not going to be a second running back taken. Are you going to buy?
Maybe off the top of your head, other running backs you can see going in the first round.
I can't.
I can't either. That's why I'm going to say Love will be the only one, because unless somebody has a scoop on somebody, you're going to get that guy probably in the second or third round. So
yeah,
there's no need to go in the first round pick on him. So I'm going to say one, Love.
I mean, your next highest rated running backs, believe it or not, are Nebraska's Emmett Johnson, Arkansas's Mike Washington Jr., Jonah Coleman of Washington. None of those guys are household names. How about Jadarian Price, the other Notre Dame running back, is listed as one of the best grades. Oh, by the way, Katron Allen from once upon a time Norview High School in Norfolk, Penn State. He's a guy that's going to hope to hear his name called. But you're going to buy under, right? So you're buying this. You're going under, right?
Yeah, only one, Love.
Yeah, I'm buying. I would love to sell and be contrarian, but I can't find a second running back that's worth I don't want to say nickel, but high on that card. I'm pulling for Allen to get picked somewhere good, but we shall see. We might throw it to Shane Hallam and get his take on it too, but the next best running backs, and if there's much value there. It looks like rounds 2, 3, and 4 will be able to allow them to go. How about trades? Are you going to buy or sell over 4.5 first-round trades? There was 4 trades in the first round, according to the data that was given to me through the NFL draft communications page. You're going to buy or sell that in this year's first round, being 5 or more trades. He's thinking hard.
NFL's not big on trading, though. I would say lately they've done more trading than they ever have.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to go. I'm going to buy it. I'm going to say you're going to have 5 trades. 5 trades.
I've been buying, but I'm going to sell this because here's my thing. If you're going to trade, you have to be trading for something. And I'm not sure this draft is as good a draft as other drafts in terms of value? Is there something you're trading for? Is there a big run of a position, offensive linemen, pass rushers? What are you trading for? I'm going to sell this. I think we get stuck with only 3 or 4 trades. I think there might be more movement in rounds 2 through 5 than in round 1, and I don't see any movement in the top 10. I'd be surprised, although there's been a lot of whispers that Cleveland wants to make a trade out. Cleveland wants to trade down from what I'm hearing, the Browns. So we shall see, but I'm gonna sell this while you buy that one. How about our next one? We got 2 more left here on this edition of NFL Draft Buy or Sell on Cova Sports TV and 757 Sports Talk. Defensive selections. Remember, one of these we count from last year's 15 was Travis Hunter, the two-way standout from Colorado, playing for the Jacksonville Jaguars as a defensive back and wide receiver, and he did it pretty effectively. We don't have a two-way, a dual guy in this year's draft, but you're going to take for 16, that would be half of the board being defensive guys. Are you going to go over or under this one, buy or sell? I'll let you go first, Edward, on what you think for the defense in this year's 2026 National Football League Draft.
Well, we know it ain't going to be running backs. It ain't going to be quarterbacks, a whole lot of them, one of each. Now that puts us down to some really good offensive linemen, which teams need. Probably after quarterback needs some offensive line help. Some good tight ends. Definitely saw a good handful of wide receivers. But defensive area, you've got some people, some game changers, I think, in this. I'm going to say yes, 16. I can see 16 in the first half. That's half. That's a lot. That's a heck of a lot. But I can see that happen.
I'm going to sell this. Okay, you're going to buy it?
Yeah, I'm buying it over. I'm going to go 16.
All right, we'll keep a track on this. I'm going to sell it. I think there will be a couple of big-time safeties like Caleb Downs of Ohio State going in the top 20 picks. Some edge rushers. We'll see what happens with Mr. Bain from Miami, and there's some stories already circulating about him right now. Defensive lineman, defensive tackle, probably only one linebacker, maybe 1 or 2 corners. I don't see as many. I think there's going to be more offensive linemen this year. At a couple of receivers. We know about the quarterbacks and running backs possibly being just one of each, which if that does happen, you might get that backdoor cover or last-second charge with a couple of defensive guys at the end of the first round. But I'm going to say we just miss 16, which is half the board. We go with probably 13 or 14. I'll probably say 14 in round number 1 being defensive dudes. I can see a lot of offensive line, maybe 7 or 8 is what I'm thinking in that first round. Our last one on buy.
I agree on the lineman.
Okay, but you're going to disagree and decide to go with 16 defensive dudes. Okay, that's fair. You can go ahead and do that, no problem. And then our last one here on this edition of Buy or Sell NFL Draft Style. Miami and Indiana played in the national championship game. It was a doozy of a ball game back on, it was MLK Day, right, when they played? I think so. Yeah, on that Monday night. I got to miss most of it, but watch the replay later because I was at an event at Kings Fork at Suffolk. You saw the end of the game. But 21.5 players taken by Indiana and Miami combined. And you say, I can't name all these guys, Matt, except Bain and Mendoza for the Hurricanes and the Hoosiers. But here's something from Pro Football Focus that I know will grab your attention. I'll take the banner off for a second. This is the big board. Most players by school expected to be drafted from Pro Football Focus. Texas A&M leads the way with 15. Bama 14. LSU, Penn State 13. Buckeyes, Bulldogs 12 apiece. Clemson, Indiana 11 each, along with Oklahoma. So if you do the math there, they're saying 11 plus 11 is 22, unless one of those guys doesn't get drafted. You're going to go over or under 21.5. Does PFF have it right?
Under.
You're going to go under.
Combined. Yeah, it won't be 22 won't be drafted.
You're going to go under. Wow. We agree on one for the first time, I think, in this game. We've disagreed on everything.
Yeah, I'm definitely going under on this.
I'm thinking one of those 6th or 7th round guys will end up being signed later, because you'll sometimes see schools that are not the high-profile FBS. Those guys get drafted. I think it's going to be 20 or 21. So I'm actually with you on this one, and I'm going to sell it too. How about that? We agreed finally after we disagreed for so much of this portion.
It's okay to disagree.
It is. It's okay to disagree. It's also okay to agree from time to time.
It is fun. What makes a life a good one? Is it our adventures? Or the friends we find along the way? Is it the challenges we conquer together? Maybe it's the people's lives we touch every single day. So, what makes a life a good one? You'll have to figure that one out for yourself.
What is more? Is it more reps, more strength, more stamina? We say it's all of that, but it's greater than just what's in the mirror. It's about improving your mental and physical health. More is a feeling of achievement, fulfillment, confidence. It's looking better, feeling better, being better, and it's our mission to get you there. Because here, you are more. One Life Fitness.
Portco is your local nonprofit organization dedicated to economic empowerment through employment for people with disabilities. We focus on abilities, not limitations, providing on-the-job vocational support. Find your pathway to employment. Contact us or learn more at portco.org.
Well, it's everybody's favorite time of year again. Time to prepare to make your annual donation to that infernal revenue service. And if you're like me, you need help. Help to keep that donation as small as possible. So get off your W-2 and call John Maynard at John's Tax Service. 455-6763.
At Rush Soccer, our love of the game and the community we create doesn't stop when we leave the pitch or when the season ends. We are more than an individual player, team, club, or league. We are a truly global community of athletes, parents, coaches, professionals, and fans. We believe that youth sports and the pathway to a lifelong love of soccer have the power to form deep, meaningful connections that will fundamentally shape our players and those in our community. We believe that what we feel is the key to what we can achieve. Feel the pride. Feel the confidence. Feel the legacy. Feel the connection. Feel the trust. Feel the acceptance. Feel the purpose. Feel the difference. Feel the rush.
At Atomic Wings, we prioritize real chicken with fresh, all-natural, never-frozen ingredients, all packed with serious flavor. Order from over 15 awesome flavors at atomicwings.com.
Did you know that the minimum limits in Virginia are $30,000? $30,000 is a lot of money on an individual basis, but if you're involved in a personal injury matter, that's not enough. Here at Williams-Deloitte, we're happy to provide a consultation on the amount of coverage you have in your vehicle. It can be confusing. Not many people understand it. You know you need to have it, but do you have enough? Give us a call today at 757-547-5555 so we can help you prepare in the case of an automobile accident or any other personal injury matter that you or your family may find yourself in.
For any athlete, making it to the top sometimes comes with a few steps back. That's why there's CHKD Sports Medicine. Advanced diagnostics, treatment, and rehabilitation for sports injuries, just for young athletes like yours.
What's up at DQ? Oh, just the best deal ever. The $7 bacon cheeseburger meal deal. Bacon cheeseburger, fries, drink, and a sundae. No time to be modest. It's all full size for just $7 right now at DQ. Happy tastes good.
It's 757 Saturday Sports Talk with Matt Hatfield and the one and only Coach Ed Young. Every Saturday morning at 10 a.m. on Cova Sports TV. From high school football and basketball to the NFL, MLB, college sports, and the NBA, if it's making headlines, they are breaking it down. Bold takes, big-time guests, and a few laughs, especially at the expense of that basketball coach, Ed Young. Catch it on Cox TV and Your View, and don't forget to like and subscribe on YouTube at Cova Sports TV.
This is 757 Saturday Sports Talk. Here are Matt Hatfield and Coach Ed Young.
And we welcome you back to 757 Sports Talk, powered by Cobra Sports TV. Like, share, and subscribe with the coach, Ed Young. I am Matthew Hatfield. We are scheduled to be joined by Bob Rathbun here in just a moment, as he will be with us on the program. We're waiting for Bob to pop on here. For some reason, not seeing him on our street deck. He says he's telling me he's on, but I do not see him in our lobby. So we'll see if that can get corrected here in just a moment. That hopefully we'll have Bob on with us on the program, as we will talk NBA playoffs with him and all that is going on this particular episode, as so much is happening in the world of sports. And we had double microphone there, so apologize about that. So he's telling me he's on, but we're not seeing him for some reason. So we're going to get that troubleshoot here with you in just a moment to talk with him about everything in the world of pro basketball and the postseason that's getting underway today with 4 games. And then you have 4 games tomorrow, as Bob is in New York with the Knicks and the Hawks, Wolves, Nuggets before that, Cavaliers, Raptors tip things off. It was good catching up with Marcus Kahn, though, head basketball coach of Mary Washington, Division III national champs. Really cool for our state. And I know we brought that up during our PIT broadcast as well, to have the Commonwealth flavor in the Division III ranks thrive so much here in these last couple of decades.
Yeah, I think that's the point. I don't think we can make enough of it. Is Division III basketball in the state of Virginia, to me, has now progressed to national level. As is there a state producing better Division III teams with as many national champions we've had out of this? And I've always said, I think on a college level, Division III basketball is the hardest to coach. You're not getting big kids in for big money and all that kind of stuff that the Division I people deal with. Everything's based on grant and aid and loans. Players are taking out loans that they got to pay back. So I just think it's harder to put together your teams, and to win a national title at that level, to me, is harder than Division I and probably Division II. I think Division I is a little easier because of what's out there for you. Of course, we've seen where very, very few repeat teams that are winning it. So, again, my hat's off to Marcus Kahn and all those guys, Dave Macedo, John Corkin, our local guys, Josh Merkel at Randolph-Macon, getting these national championships and bringing that vision or those eyes to Virginia in terms of Division III basketball. And it lets kids know, ain't nothing wrong with Division III basketball. A national title is a national title, period. The only reason Division I gets looked at so much is they're on TV constantly, talked about constantly, money involved, and, they get their education for the most part free. And Division III doesn't do that. So I'm it's really neat to see what's going on with Division III basketball in the state of Virginia.
Yeah, it is. We always have a lot of local flavor sprinkled in the NBA playoffs here and there and everywhere in between. There's not as many names that hail from the 757 in this year's particular NBA playoffs. One guy, though, that we always talk about because he's been in the postseason before and he hasn't really been involved or put up the numbers that we love, is our pal Dorian Finney-Smith from the Houston Rockets. Just over 3 points per game, 9th season in the league, by the way. He out of IC Norcom High School in Portsmouth, as he's one of the role guys for that Rockets team. Ironically enough, playing the team he was on last year in the playoffs in the LA Lakers. Remember, they lost that series to the Timberwolves, which Bob, by the way, cautioned us, watch out for the Wolves in that series, and he was right on the money. But this time, Dodo, as he's nicknamed affectionately Dodo, not that we're calling him Dodo, Dorian Finney-Smith plays his old team in the first round of the Western Conference playoffs. That LA team, certainly with the injuries to Luka Doncic and Austin Reeves, a big storyline for that one, as KD and LeBron go mano a mano.
Yeah, that's going to be interesting to see him going against with the Lakers. The Lakers, I thought for a while there would be a team to keep an eye on. To get maybe all the way to the championship series. With the injuries they have now, I don't know if they get past the Rockets. I think they can beat the Rockets, but they have to have Luka 100%, which isn't happening right now. And, of course, LeBron, I just think has played amazing at age what is he, 41, 42 years old?
Yeah.
You know, Austin Reeves, they're going to need all their people to do it. And from what I'm hearing from all the talking heads, it should be used serious to take.
Okay, there we have it. All right, I think we now have on the program, because we have the audio. We'll have to use the picture because I don't think we got the picture on with him. I think we are now joined by our pal, Bob Rathbun, the one and only play-by-play voice of the NBA's Atlanta Hawks. Bob, can you hear us out there?
I can. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, we hear you loud and clear. Thanks for coming on the program. Sorry about the technical difficulties, but as you know in this business, we always have to troubleshoot that. We have on the screen right now for folks that can see it, our picture last year at the Virginia Sports Hall of Fame induction. You were there. One of the rare times you could come in town for that event. Yeah, it was really cool. You, me, and Brendan Adair, the NBA official from our area, Virginia Wesleyan Hall of Famer and Princess Anne High alum there with that great gathering. And we had on recently another one of your pals on the show last month, the tall Virginian who went in, Dan Bonner. But how's life treating you? You're in New York today, aren't you?
I am. We're getting ready to go. 6 o'clock tip at the Garden, and it couldn't be more exciting. I think this is a tremendous opportunity for the Hawks. They retooled their team. They made so many deals, and it came together after the All-Star break so quickly. To be the 6th seed is really quite amazing.
It is. I want to get to that with you, and I know Coach has. Go ahead, Coach. I know you want to jump in here with us doing the PIT, and my voice being hoarse right now. Go ahead, Ed.
Well, one thing, Bob. First of all, it's great to have you on. Great to hear you. Unfortunately, we can't see you. Of course, we definitely miss you. We say this all the time. We miss you here to 757, but you're on to bigger, better things on that with the Hawks on a national level. So, congrats and keep going that. But my partner here, if he sounds raspy, he's driving me nuts here this morning because he's done what? I don't know, I think 5 or 6 PIT games.
Try 8.
8 games, and we've got, 4 more today. I'm going to be on next to him on a couple of them. So
excellent.
Give him some advice what he should be doing with his voice.
Well, get off your talk show. That number one.
There you go.
I would say throat lozenges, a little hot water and honey and lemon will get you through.
Bob, I'm glad you said it because there are a lot of times when we're on this show, I would just want him to just shut up.
Well, that today would be considered professional advice.
Well, that's to help with a 3-man crew, which we have for a couple of the games. I know you've been involved with the 3-man as opposed to 2-man. And I want to start there. We'll get to the games and the Hawks and their great resurgence here in a second with you. And Ed will have some great NBA hard-hitting questions. But you were a little outspoken, as was the guy that's on the network, Mike Breen. With the streaming going on with Amazon Prime, my dad's one of the folks who's very upset. He doesn't have the streaming. It's obviously for the dollars. We get it. But fans are missing those first-round local broadcasts. People like yourself and Dominique Wilkins, Breeny and Walt Frazier, and Breen was outspoken about it. I know Chris Mad Dog Russo was very outspoken about it on ESPN First Take this week about just the whole streaming setup. It is different because we have 3 games today on Prime Video. There are some games this weekend on ABC and NBC, but it's a very different world we live in now with basketball and how you view it.
Well, it really is, and it's just changing day by day almost. Cord cutting is real. We know that. The example that I give back in Atlanta, we have Comcast as one of our major providers. And 12 years ago in Atlanta, they had 2 million subscribers in Metro Atlanta, 2 million. And that number today is 280,000. So, yes, cord cutting is for real. It's a big problem. The teams and the networks are trying to make it work. Of course, the networks are leveraged because of the incredible rights fees that they have to pay, and they don't have the income, the revenue stream that they used to have. So it's forced everybody to make changes, and that includes the NBA and selling to Amazon and to Peacock, NBC, these opening round games, the playing games, etc. But from a fan standpoint, I think the problem is, and this is what Mike was talking about, Mad Dog, is the fact that this is something that's been a part of the NBA forever. We were talking at practice yesterday. I think going back to St. Louis, the Hawks have always been able to broadcast some playoff games. Mm-hmm. And the first round has always been something that we have done basically side by side with ESPN and TNT, and that's been taken away from us. And we seem to make it harder for our fans to watch the games rather than easier. You know, if you're a fan and you want to watch these games, you got to shell out money to Peacock. You got to shell out money to Amazon Prime if you don't have it, and it gets expensive on top of what you're already paying for your cable or satellite, what have you. So I think that's where we are in the crossroads. Maybe there's a compromise uh, down the road where we could do a game or two in the first round. Because the 16 teams that do make it, that first home playoff game is a celebration of their season, and we'd all like to be a part of that.
Well, very, very true here as we talk with the Emmy award-winning broadcaster and play-by-play voice of the NBA's Atlanta Hawks, Bob Rathbun, Virginia Sports Hall of Famer, as the postseason gets underway today. Ed, with 4 matchups, you have, of course, the Atlanta Hawks visiting the New York Knicks, which we'll get into with Bob here in just a moment. Minnesota Timberwolves taking on the Denver Nuggets, Cleveland Cavaliers taking on the Toronto Raptors, Houston Rockets, and LA Lakers today. And then tomorrow in the East, it's Boston hosting Philadelphia, Detroit hosting Orlando, while the defending NBA champion Oklahoma City Thunder host the Phoenix Suns, and the San Antonio Spurs host the Portland Trailblazers at 757 Sports Talk and Cova Sports TV. Ed?
Well, Bob, you know, the big thing, and you kind of alluded to it, Hawks make a lot of trades. And,
Yes.
and a lot of NBA teams made some crazy trades at the deadline. But a lot of those teams kind of did it for next year or to get cap space, whatever. I think the Hawks, one of the very few teams with as many trades, that actually was something to do now, and it did boost them. And it did put them in a situation where I still don't think people understand it. They're the 6th seed, and a lot of people gaining momentum, they got a shot against the Knicks because you never know what Knicks team is going to show up. So go a little deeper into this situation with the trades, maybe be specific on what guys came in. And, of course, the elephant in the room, Trae Young. You know, everybody knew him as the face of the Hawks, but a lot of the insiders were saying he may be the person that needs to go. And Matt and I talked about this, and I said to Matt, you know, Trae Young being traded was, to me, addition by subtraction. Your thoughts?
I would say it's addition by addition. You know, the decision was made. Let's even go back to the summer and to the start of training camp, when your 2 best players and your most highest paid players, the 2 guys, Trae Young and Kristaps Porzingis, whom you built the entire team around, are no longer with us as we go to the playoffs, which is crazy when you think about it. But Trae getting hurt in late October, injured knee in Brooklyn, was out for basically 2 months. That allowed Jalen Johnson's star to rise, and he became basically the team's point forward. He could score, he could rebound, he could pass the basketball, and the team played well. Trae comes back, it doesn't work. Porzingis is a no-show basically the entire time he was in Atlanta. And the decision was made that it's not going to work, and our GM, Ansi Saleh, said, okay, you know what? We've got an offer here from the Wizards. We'll pull the trigger and make the move. And getting 2 vets in C.J. McCollum and Corey Kispert really did help this young core, in so much as, you know, these guys are older, established. And the one thing that is a rarity in the NBA today that both of those guys provided was they were 4-year college players. C.J. at Lehigh and Kispert at Gonzaga. And so they brought a different level of maturity and work ethic to the Hawks and to the younger players that I think they really enjoyed and made it a much better environment. And then when we got to the trade deadline, it was much more of how can we plug some of these gaps? And I thought, excuse me, I thought dealing Porzingis for a guy that really can be a difference maker in his playoffs, Jonathan Kuminga, was a bold move. Ansi, from his time at Golden State, knew all about Kuminga, the ups and downs. But this is a guy that gives the Hawks something that they don't have, which is physical, athletic wing that can defend, set screens, you know, be an aggressive physical player. They don't have that. And so if he can have a big series against the Knicks, I think it'll go a long way in helping the Hawks. And then, you know, we got off at the deadline, we got this guy that only the junkies would know, Jock Landale coming over technically from Utah. We think we got him from Memphis because he never really went to Utah. But he became that stretch five for the backup unit, the second unit. And he was crucial. And he was taken out in early April on a dirty play in Orlando. And so they didn't have him. So they went and they got Tony Bradley. So a very long-winded answer to your question. But I think this team reminds me a lot of the 60-win team in so much as they are a team that's greater than the sum of their parts. They just have a nice cohesion about them. The pieces fit. They've got enough veterans that know how to win and been through the playoff fires to help the younger guys who really haven't done that. So it's a pretty good mix, and they're riding the wave going into the series.
Yeah, Bob, and with Landale out the first couple of weeks of the playoffs because of that sprained right ankle, the Hawks are going to use some different options with the lineup. But, you hit on some great things there because I was just telling Ed the other day, I think this has been one of the best coaching jobs in the league quietly by Quinn Snyder here. You look at it, the Trae Young departure, and they got two guys in Jalen Johnson and Nickeil Alexander-Walker that are averaging over 20 points per game quietly. They aren't getting the fanfare of others in the league. This Knicks team, look at that matchup with Jalen Brunson and Cat, Karl Anthony Towns, and Josh Hart, some of these guys that people know across the league, Mikal Bridges. It's a team that was just a step away from the NBA Finals last year. They make the coaching change themselves from Tom Thibodeau to Mike Brown. And while Mike Brown's had a lot of success, there are some critics of him in the playoffs. Give me kind of your breakdown of this matchup, what will be critical, and is there a coaching advantage potentially for Snyder and the Hawks in your eyes?
Well, I always tell people that Quinn was a top 5 coach when he got to Atlanta. He's a top 5 coach now. He's finally got a ball club that his vision for ball movement, player movement, offense, two dogs out front defensively and Dyson Daniels and Nickeil Alexander-Walker, playing the kind of basketball that I think Quinn loves to play the most. That said, there are some unique challenges for the Hawks in this Knicks series. One is size. We just don't have the size to deal with Karl Anthony Towns and Mitchell Robinson. And that's not going to change in these next 2 weeks. So we got to figure out a way to keep Karl Anthony Towns from killing us, particularly at the three-point line. He cannot have look after look. We've got to change and get him off that three-point line, number one. Number two is we've got to survive on the defensive board. We gave up 45 offensive rebounds to these cats in 3 regular season games. You're not going to win a playoff game when the other team's getting 15 offensive rebounds a game. So what we did when Landale got hurt is we went and signed Tony Bradley. Now, Tony's went to Carolina and been a backup big man his time in the league, and he was out of work. Pacers let him go. He hadn't touched a basketball in 2 months until we called him. But if you remember last year when Indiana beat the Knicks in the playoffs, Bradley matched up with Mitchell Robinson and did a really good job keeping him off the glass. And we're just hoping that Tony can do that, use the 6 fouls, put him on the line, make him work for every inch in that paint to give us a little bit of resistance. And Yeka Kagu is our starting center, guys, and he is undersized. So we've got to make up for that. And I think Quinn's got a couple of tricks up his sleeve that you'll see during this series to kind of neutralize what Towns can do, because those, I think, are the 2 big factors, keeping them off the glass and not letting Towns just go crazy.
We're chatting with Bob Rathbun. He's the play-by-play voice of the Atlanta Hawks. NBA playoffs getting underway today at 757 Sports Talk, and you're watching with us on Cova Sports TV, Ed.
Well, Bob, I do want to talk a little bit more about, the Hawks with the resurgence, but real quick comes to mind, how are you looking at the rest of the, let's say, the East matchups? Your view on each of those series. We got, of course, Toronto, Cleveland. You guys are playing the Knicks, and Philly, Celtics, Magic, Detroit.
First of all, Cleveland, Toronto, this is a matchup that the Raptors are not relishing. Cleveland has had their number big time. Home court advantage. I would think the Cavs are heavily favored. If not a sweep, maybe a gentleman's sweep and do it in 5. As for the other series, if Embiid, of course, is always a mystery when it comes to Philadelphia. If he's there, they become a different team. I don't know that they play well enough in terms of shot selection and doing all those things to beat Boston on the road. But that said, I love Maxey. I love Edgecombe. I think they are two dynamic guards, and if they get hot, they'll give the Celtics some problems. Boston is not unbeatable, despite their great regular season. And Orlando-Detroit is going to be probably the most physical first-round series in the East or the West. Orlando, that's what they do. That's sort of been Detroit's calling card. I think the Pistons will be a massive favorite to win this series. But you got to like Orlando with a puncher's chance, as well as they played last night. You saw them last night at their absolute best. And if they can replicate that, they'll give anybody problems. But I think Detroit, is ready for the moment. They're ready to make that next leap in the playoffs. So I would favor Detroit probably in maybe 6.
Let's jump over to the West. We're looking at, I think the big matchup, most people are saying is the matchup of the first round. Minnesota, Denver. Of course, you have OKC, Phoenix, Portland, San Antonio. A lot of people loving San Antonio. And then you've got Rockets and Lakers.
Minnesota, Denver is going to be a battle. No doubt about it. I think that is going to just be a great first round series. A shame that one of those teams is going to be out after the first round because both are quality. I think Denver is outstanding. You know how much we love Jokic. But Minnesota, despite their ups and downs this year, again, when kind of like Orlando, when they're on, they can beat anybody. And Ant-Man rises to the occasion. That's a good series. Favorite Denver because of the home court. Houston Lakers, I think everybody's kind of circled the Lakers because of their injury problems, but I can't count out LeBron. I have seen him take, of course, he was a younger man back then, but I've seen him take lesser teams than what he's got to deal with the Lakers to the NBA Finals back in those early Cleveland days. So never count LeBron out. And if Durant, I read this morning where he's a little banged up, and if Durant's hurt, I don't think Houston has much of a chance to advance. Phoenix OKC, the Suns, a great story. Justin Ott, who used to be a Hawks assistant, has done a marvelous job as a head coach. But OKC is just too good, too much. That should be a fairly 4 or 5 game series. And Portland, San Antonio, don't discount the Blazers. This is a team that, kind of like the Hawks, has, for us in the East and the Eastern Seaboard, you play in Portland, you might as well play on the dark side of the moon. You got to stay up till 11 o'clock at night to watch the games. But they're not bad, guys. They're not a bad ball club, and they could scare San Antonio. Do I think the Spurs will win the series? Absolutely. And do I think it could go sideways for Portland early? Yes, I do. But don't discount the Blazers. I think that's a pretty good story brewing out there with all the turmoil that they have had with the coaching change and everything that's going on out there, ownership change. They're not bad. I tell you, they're not a bad ball club.
Yeah, they go from Chauncey Billups to Thiago Splitter with the gambling investigation, and boom, here they are with the playoffs. That great comeback they had the other night. And it's amazing, Bob, too. Isn't it something when guys get out of Washington, like Denny Advia or C.J. McCollum in y'all's case with the Atlanta Hawks, how well they can perform on a different stage, huh?
Well, it's shocking to me that Washington would even entertain a trade of Denny Advia last season. I feel like, what are you thinking? I know you're rebuilding and you're tanking and you're getting picks and all that. I got that. But I tell you what, talent in this league is hard to come by. And when you've got one of your own under your control for years to come, why wouldn't you want him? I don't get that. I can see where you trade CJ. He's 34 years old and blah, blah, blah. But Denny, give up on him? I don't know about that one.
Yeah, for sure. A few more minutes with Bob Bratham. We love having him on the program. Emmy-award winning broadcaster and play-by-play voice of the NBA's Atlanta Hawks. Virginia Sports Hall of Famer, too, as the NBA playoffs get underway at 757 Sports Talk on Cova Sports TV. And some of our loyal viewers have been chiming in with a couple of questions your way, Bob. So we'll throw a couple your direction. Our pal Sports 2026 J9V wants to know, which team does Bob Rathbun think will win it all and why? So tell us, who do you think will win it all? Is it a repeat for OKC, Bob, or do you see somebody else in your crystal ball?
Oh, boy. My crystal ball is pretty foggy when it comes to this stuff. I do think we're in an age in the NBA when, for the top clubs, parity is the word. It's who can get hot and stay hot and, keep winning through the tough times and these tough matchups. How many straight years have we had a different champion now? 7? Something like that? So I think that's kind of the age that we're in. I think you can make a case for a lot of teams. And again, the playoff basketball, two things, matchups and injuries. Those are the two things that, since the beginning of time, has determined the playoffs. Whether it's John Havlicek's shoulder or, you name it through history. The key guy gets hurt, changes everything. So my crystal ball is not that great. But I'm thinking that, maybe in the East, it might come down to, to home court with Detroit, Boston, New York, somewhere in that threesome right there. Out West, I do think San Antonio has a legitimate chance, even though they've, this playoff experience is going to be new to them. But boy, when you got a dynamic player like Wemby, you can win. I can't count out OKC, and I sure can't count out Denver. I mean, you got that son of a gun Jokic and Murray and those guys, Gordon. Man, they know how to win, and they're not that far removed from holding that trophy. So that's a non-answer answer to your question.
No, it's an excellent point because that guy Joker and the Nuggets took OKC to a 7-game series last year, took him to the wire, took him to the brink.
And not to interrupt you, man, but just to show you that series last year, Denver's got OKC. They are this close, and my fingers about an inch apart. They are that close to going up 3-1 in that series.
Yes.
I mean, they had game 4-1. And if they go up 3-1, I don't know that you hear from OKC.
Agreed.
They may not have been able to come back. So that's how close it is. You think to the Raptors winning it. If that ball doesn't dance on the rim for Kawhi Leonard and drop in to beat Philadelphia, I don't know that Toronto wins the championship. So, I mean, that's how crazy this is and what makes it so great to watch.
And go back to that shot with Durant with Brooklyn against Milwaukee. Remember that, Bob? It's a three.
If his foot is an inch behind the line further, it's a three-pointer instead of a two-pointer. Brooklyn wins and Bucks are gone.
Excellent point. Before Ed jumps back in with you, we got Tim in Chesapeake. This is a fascinating one. He wants to know what's the best possible second-round matchup, Spurs, Nuggets, or Knicks, Celtics. I mean, Bob's going to say Hawks and Celtics because if Atlanta beats the Knicks, they're in the second round, right? But what do you think? A Wemby Joker 7-game second-round matchup, though, that would be tantalizing, wouldn't it?
Oh, my goodness. That would be fantastic. And they played great games in the regular season, too.
Yes.
So that would be delicious. Everybody here in New York, they're already making their plans for the Celtics. And as my good friend Lee Corso would say, not so fast, my friend. You've got to go out there and play these games. And I'm telling you, for all the underdogs today and tomorrow, the best game to win is the first one. Telling you, history changes when the road team wins the first game of the series. Now, you think back last year, Detroit came in here, won 2 games in New York. First 2, remember? And what happened? So it's not like a guarantee, but I do think to kind of shift the focus a little bit on the big favorites, if the road teams can sneak out a win today, the conversation changes.
It really does here. Before we let him go, Bob Rathbun, Atlanta Hawks play-by-play voice with us here on 757 Sports Talk. It's Cova Sports TV. Like, share, and subscribe. Postseason getting underway today. Ed, I know you got a couple more his way.
Well, Bob, kind of changed the whole subject here. One of the big issues in the NBA, and you hear even the experts really talk about it, this issue on tanking, losing
it's
on
awful.
Purpose, whatever. Now, you're close to the situation. You see some things. You probably heard some things. What is going on, and can anything be done? Adam Silver taking a lot of heat.
Oh, there's plenty they can do. They can end it tomorrow if they wanted to. Stop protecting first-round picks. That's a start. If you trade a first-round pick, you trade the first-round pick. That'll stop a lot of this nonsense. But because, I've got a first-round pick that's protected 1 through 8. Well, you take away those protections, there's no reason to tank. It's like we've got New Orleans pick unencumbered this summer. If it is in the top 5, we get it. If it's in the top, wherever it lands, we get it. We have the better of the 2 picks between New Orleans and Milwaukee. So we got 2 swings a lot, top 5 pick, basically, if we get lucky with the ping pong balls. No, I think it's a disgrace. I don't like it. I understand it because basketball is the only sport where one guy changes everything, like Wemby. When you have a generational talent come into the league like that, like LeBron, like Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, I understand 100%. But I do not like tanking. I think the only people who win in tanking are front offices. The coaches pay the price. The players get labeled as losers. I hate it. And if they would call it game fixing instead of tanking, I think the public would find it distasteful too.
That's a great point. I had not thought of it. The changing of the phrase. And that's a big deal, Ed. Very big deal.
Well, Bob, you hit it right on the head there. It is. If you're losing on purpose, it's against the rules, against the law.
You're manipulating the outcome of the game. It's just like point shaving. And we know how much we hate that. No, I just don't like it. And I understand. And the bad part about it is ingrained in our culture that this is okay because it's been going on for 50 years.
Well, it's funny. We were talking about this.
I just don't like it.
No, we were talking about this the other night, Bob, on the show. Ed and I were watching the end of that Nuggets-Spurs game where it looked like, and we can't prove it deliberately, but so many missed threes and offensive rebounds. Some of those games into the year weren't great. But the playoffs, in terms of some of the excitement, in the last few years, it's never been better, and it takes away from the shine of how great this league really is when we have these situations in a lot of respects.
Yeah, it does. The regular season in the NBA, guys, is entertainment. I mean, it really is. But the playoffs is basketball, and that's why you see these great moments when these guys with the championship at stake. This is when they come to play the absolute hardest. The TV timeouts last about 5 minutes each, so you got plenty of time to recover. You don't have to take your best players out to rest them. They get plenty of rest during the timeouts. And so everything changes. Every possession is magnified. It's just great. And if you're a basketball fan, love to see talented players go head to head. This is the best time.
Absolutely. As we're talking with Bob Rathbun here. Final one, Ed, go ahead.
Well, Bob, like I say, we get back into on the court stuff. I know you got to feel good with the Hawks. I know you want to say, we got New York. Who's next? Bring them on. And again, you got to win them on the court no matter what. And you are playing the Knicks because they can do some crazy things at times. And I know Mike Brown's under a lot of scrutiny. And that's kind of what I wanted. My last question to you would be, coaching in the NBA, is it real? How much is coaching involved in it? I know you talked about Snyder with you guys. Or is it because the NBA is dominated by players, but talk about NBA coaching.
Oh, it's the best. I think probably one of the most underestimated aspects of the NBA experience for everyone involved is just how good these guys are. I mean, it's amazing what these head coaches and these staffs come up with day after day, year after year. The coaching at this level is off the chart. And all you have to do is be around it for one game, and you would see just how crucial it is. I mean, Quinn Snyder, just to pump up my guy, he's a basketball savant. And to give him a week to focus in on the New York Knicks, oh, my goodness. Now, the players got to go out and execute, of course. We know that. But in terms of the preparation and the detail, I mean, we're getting down to the granular with this stuff. Where the pickup points are, not generally speaking, specifically, which board on the floor do you want your defender? Where do you want your feet set for the angle of the screen? No, adjusted 5 degrees. I mean, that's what we're talking about here. The minutia that these guys get down to absolutely maximize every opportunity they have on every possession. It's great. And for, basketball junkies like you guys and like me, this is just like heaven because everything is great. And the thing about the playoffs, it's so emotional. You win a playoff game, you don't think you're ever going to lose another one. You lose a playoff game, you don't think you're ever going to win another one. And it is so great. It's the best time of the year.
Yeah, and there's comebacks galore. We've seen already a couple in the play-in games. We saw last year the Pacers and the Knicks involved with some wild comebacks. The Knicks had 2 major comebacks against the Celtics. You never know what will come. It's very unpredictable as Atlanta gets ready to take on New York. In New York City, the winner of that series gets the winner of Sixers Celtics. You also have the Magic, Pistons, Cavs, Raptors in the East, while the West features OKC hosting Phoenix, San Antonio hosting Portland, Rockets and Lakers, Nuggets and Wolves. He is the play-by-play voice of the Atlanta Hawks, Bob Rathbun. Always a pleasure, my friend. You enjoy the postseason, and I'm sure we'll catch up with you as the finals get going in June.
Thank you, guys, and tell me what names at the PIT I need to tell my scouts about, because they will look good in a Hawks uniform next year.
Go ahead, Ed. Tell Bob your favorite guy, the college joker. Tell him about him. Go ahead.
Oh, I love the big fellow. Don't think he's NBA ready. Robbie Avila, St. Louis.
Oh yeah,
He's not having a good shooting, PIT, Bob, but his passing, is as good as any point guard in this series. And there are a couple big guys, some 6'10", 6'11" guys. The one that gets me from George Washington, Matt, what was it?
Castro.
Castro. There's some big guys. And you'll like this, Bob. Virginia Tech's got an athlete.
Toby Lawal.
What's his name?
Toby Lawal, yeah.
Kobe Lawal,
Yep.
6'8", probably 225, NBA type body. And his only question mark is shooting, but as soon as we said that on the broadcast, he bombs 2 from deep corner and hits them all net. So there's some guys that I don't know if they're going to get drafted high, but I think they need to be in camp.
You got it. I got it down. I'll send it to him. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Bob.
Thanks,
you enjoy.
Bob.
We'll talk soon.
Okay. Bye.
That's the one and only Bob Rathbun, our guest here on 757 Sports Talk. Always great to talk with him as he gives us about a half hour and more of his time. So splendid to chat with him. A guy who, by the way, folks, used to do the PIT and was in the Hampton Roads market on WTKR TV3. Did so much different broadcasting. In fact, a couple of our comments out there, Woody said, listen to Bob for many, many years, and we appreciate him giving us the time today. Timeout coming. NFL Draft Talk is coming your way next as we have another special guest with us. That's Shane P. Hallam of Draft Sharks. Don't go anywhere. You're watching 757 Sports Talk, and they're watching it where, Ed?
Here it is, Kova Sports TV, where you got to like, share, and subscribe.
Yeah. What makes a life a good one? Is it our adventures? Or the friends we find along the way? Is it the challenges we conquer together? Maybe it's the people's lives we touch every single day. So, what makes a life a good one? You'll have to figure that one out for yourself.
What is more? Is it more reps, more strength, more stamina? We say it's all of that, but it's greater than just what's in the mirror. It's about improving your mental and physical health. More is a feeling of achievement, fulfillment, confidence. It's looking better, feeling better, being better, and it's our mission to get you there. Because here, you are more. One Life Fitness.
Portco is your local nonprofit organization dedicated to economic empowerment through employment for people with disabilities. We focus on abilities, not limitations, providing on-the-job vocational support. Find your pathway to employment. Contact us or learn more at portco.org.
Well, it's everybody's favorite time of year again. Time to prepare to make your annual donation to that infernal revenue service. And if you're like me, you need help. Help to keep that donation as small as possible. So get off your W-2 and call John Maynard at John's Tax Service. 455-6763.
Hampton Roads has a long-running high school and college sports tradition. It's time to give them the spotlight they deserve. This is 757 Saturday Sports Talk. Here is Matt Hatfield.
Yes, it's the NFL Draft logo. The emblem there is we're ready for the draft. And who better to bring on than our pal on 757 Sports Talk from Draft Sharks,
Shane P. Hallam. He's been on with us for a few years now, year after year after year. He gives you all the fantasy football, NFL draft advice. You can find it on Draft Sharks on the web, and follow him at Shane P. Hallam on the X for Twitter, as most know it. Shane, good to talk with you. It's April. We're in the heart of draft buzz, getting ready to see who's going to be picked after the, assumption that number one is Fernando Mendoza to the Las Vegas Raiders, and then all the craziness will ensue from there. Let's start there. How does this draft to you stack up to others, and is there more intrigue, less intrigue, more mystery, potential more chaos in your eyes?
I think we actually have potential for a high chaos, high intrigue draft, because I don't think this draft is very good when you compare it to past draft classes. That's not to say that there's not great players in this draft. There's not strong positions, edge and safety and linebacker are all pretty strong, but it just doesn't have that kind of top heavy, elite blue chip players. I mean, Fernando Mendoza, who should go number one overall in this draft. I think in a typical year, to me, he doesn't measure up to the Joe Burrows or Trevor Lawrences in terms of number one overall quarterbacks. You're like, this guy could be the best quarterback in the NFL. I don't think Mendoza is going to hit those heights. So, what I do think that does is gives you some intrigue, especially when you have strong positions that the NFL doesn't value as much, like safety. Where does a Caleb Downs from Ohio State go? He's a player someone might trade up for, or some of the other Ohio State defenders. Sonny Styles at linebacker. It's like you take an off-ball linebacker in the top 10. I think some teams are going to be willing to do it. Some teams won't. And that's what's going to make this fun. I don't think the first round is going to be very predictable beyond maybe the top couple picks.
Yeah, I saw somewhere the day where the projection has it. And again, we know how all the projections are. You guys have mock drafts. You can tell folks at the end what they can find on Draft Sharks. But some of the boards have the most players going from Texas A&M, and then right behind them, the usual suspects, the Alabamas of the world, the LSUs, the Penn States, the Ohio States, the Miamis, and Indiana now in that picture to both be in the championship game. But really this draft, it seems to start at 2 with the Jets. Do you feel like it's a foregone conclusion with what the Jets are going to do, or is it more up in the air as far as there's a couple rusher guys, David Bailey from Texas Tech being one, Arvell Reese from Ohio State being the other, or do you see them going in a different direction, possibly even trading it? Where does this thing really begin in your eyes? Because most pretty much have Mendoza going one to the Raiders.
Yeah, Mendoza's going one to the Raiders. But I think the Jets are probably – it's not settled which way they'll go. I do think they're going to go with an edge rusher. The question will be, do you take David Bailey out of Texas Tech? Do you take the 14.5 sacks, probably the best pass rusher in college football, but that's really what he's going to give you, and maybe that's it? Or do you take Arvell Reese, who played off-ball linebacker at Ohio State and played off the edge but didn't have much training off the edge? We saw some of the training that he went through this offseason at the Combine, running some of those edge drills, and he got better through that process. Do you take the upside there? Could this be a Micah Parsons type of player who played linebacker in college but has the athleticism, the skill set, the size, the bend to be an elite edge rusher? I think that's the question the Jets have to face. I think Bailey's more of a sure thing, that you're going to get someone that can rush the passer. I think Arvell Reese could be a special all-around defensive talent. I kind of think they lean Bailey. I think the Jets are a team that maybe needs to hit the double and get a guy that can get you, 7 or 8 sacks a year. I think for the Jets it would be great. And I think the sure thing might win out here, despite a lot of the mock drafts having Reese going number 2.
And then the other guy can certainly go to the Cardinals at 3. I don't want to skip over Arizona here, but I'm really interested. You brought it up at the very beginning of our conversation about, the intrigue with safeties and players. 2 guys that were standouts, not just a couple seasons ago in the national championship, but throughout their college careers. Jeremiah Love, the running back at Notre Dame, and Caleb Downs, the teammate of one Arvell Reese at Ohio State, the nationally decorated safety for the Buckeyes. Is it a big reach in your eyes for a Love to go 4th to the Titans or Downs to go 5th to the Giants? And what's your read on each player?
In a typical year, I think I'd say yes. I'd say, you don't want to take a running back, especially in the top 5. Or as much as I like Caleb Downs, I don't know, he doesn't have that huge bulking size like a Kyle Hamilton where you feel like he's going to be dominant like that. But in this class, with a lot of unknowns at offensive tackle and a lot of unknowns at edge rusher, I say take the sure thing. Like, Jeremiah Love's going to be a really good player. And if you're the Titans and you're saying, well, we need to help Cam Ward out and maybe take some pressure off of him, let's draft Jeremiah Love. I'm in. Maybe it's the Giants at 5. Maybe it's the Commanders at 7. I think one of those teams is going to take him, and I think it's worthwhile in this class where there aren't a lot of sure things. And Caleb Downs to me works similarly. I don't think you're going to find a smarter player. Watching him in Alabama as an 18 to 19-year-old. It's like, this guy's a future NFL stud. He's going to be good. He plays so smart. He's the only safety in this class that went to the combine that played over 100 snaps deep in the box and at nickel corner. So he can do everything. And I think having a player like that gets the comp to Buda Baker all the time, and it's hard not to see that. I think if Caleb Downs falls a little bit, I think a team like Dallas is going to trade up, get him. I think someone's going to really want Caleb Downs to be the head of their defense.
Yeah, it's interesting to me because you see a player, you brought up the hulking safety like a Kyle Hamilton from Notre Dame for the Baltimore Ravens when he was selected 14th overall in the first round of the 2022 NFL draft. He's been a 2-time first-team All-Pro. We see some of the running backs have had success, the Saquon Barkleys, the Christian McCaffreys of the world, the Bijan Robinsons. Do those positions of recent players, do they have any impact or influence on current GMs, front offices, as they go into a draft like this one and maybe being a different type of draft than some recent ones? We shall see. Time will tell. But I'm also curious to get your take here, Shane, on as we look at teams that might have multiple picks in this first round. Take Kansas City, for example. Andy Reid's Chiefs, who have been in the Super Bowl many a times here with Patrick Mahomes leading the way for them, coming off a down year for their standards. They have picks at 9 and 29. They're hoping potentially maybe a Jeremiah Love is there for them at the running back spot for 9. There's been a lot of chatter about that. But what do you see for the Chiefs? Is this a pivotal draft for them in their franchise? And who else do you feel like has to hit the home run in this draft? Is there a team or two that you could see with multiple picks kind of have the resources in front of them to have a big day coming up or big weekend in this draft?
I think it's an important draft for the Chiefs. How often are you going to get a top 10 pick with Patrick Mahomes at quarterback? I just don't think it's going to happen too often. And so when you have that down year like they had last year and the injuries and just everything wasn't working, I mean, you have to nail this pick at 9. And I think a lot of it's going to come down to where do we need flexibility at 29. That's why I think like edge would make a lot of sense for Kansas City at 9. If a guy like Ruben Bain from Miami, who's my top edge rusher in this class, falls because of the short arms, I think the Chiefs would be a team that should pounce on that and get someone that can be a difference maker opposite George Karlaftis. And then 29, you have more flexibility. Do you take is the receiver fall? Does an offensive tackle fall? I think you need to look at the positions where you're not going to want to take an edge at 29 because of the teardrop. I do think there are teams with multiple picks in this first round that need to hit a home run. I think Dallas is one of them, certainly at 12 and then 20 with the Green Bay Packers pick. Where they've kind of felt like they're in neutral for years and years here with enough offensive explosion to contend, but the defense has just been abysmal. I think this is the draft where you have a good defensive draft. Like, go get a couple of defensive players here. Maybe it's a Caleb Downs, maybe it's a Sonny Styles. I've heard maybe they move up, even for Ruben Bain if he falls. Like, I think there's some options for them with the number of picks they have in this draft to move around the board a little bit, having those 2 first-round picks. So I think that's pretty important. And then I'll say the Cleveland Browns. I think for Cleveland, they have such a good defense. In the offense, they don't have the quarterback, don't have the receivers, don't really have much on that offense. Had to get a whole new offensive line. So you're picking at 6. You take an offensive tackle. Do you get Carnell Tate of Ohio State a wide receiver? Then you have the Jaguars pick at 24. I think it's going to be really helping that offense catch up, so that maybe in 27 they get their future franchise quarterback. He'll be ready and have the resources to win.
Yeah, I get the sense, I could be wrong, Tim, if I'm saying that the 2 teams that I'm kind of eyeballing as possible trade teams, Cleveland, if they can move down and still get who they've got on their board high, and you mentioned earlier, Dallas might be a team that they could leap up a spot or 2. Are those 2 that you're kind of circling as well?
Yeah, I think Dallas is definitely, when we're talking about trade ups, I'm circling for them. I've heard New Orleans at 8 could be an option. I mean, that's a team that does like to wheel and deal and move up and move down and move all over the board. We've seen that in recent years. So I think the Saints at 8 is kind of where you start to get a big tier drop off potentially at the wide receiver position. Maybe someone likes Jordan Tyson out of Arizona State and doesn't want the Chiefs or the Dolphins to grab them. So I think that could be a trade down spot. And I think Dallas, I could see Tampa Bay is a team that's kind of desperate where, if they don't perform and make the playoffs, then everyone's probably getting fired in that building. So I think that sometimes can make you desperate to move up and get an impact player that you want. And again, I think it's going to be the question of, is that impact player, if it's a safety, if it's a linebacker, is that worth moving up for? I think each team's going to handle that differently.
One more before we take a break, and we'll continue on with Shane Hallam of Draft Sharks. I'll tell you what you can find on Draft Sharks. It is 757 Sports Talk on Cova Sports TV. Like, share, and subscribe. You brought up Ruben Bain. I know you pointed out this week as it's trickling out the news that's been circulating. There's a story out there that he was cited for careless driving in a March crash, 2024, passenger Tacoma. NFL teams are aware, investigating, but you said no criminal or civil charges have been filed. And if he's going to fall, you talked about this because of arm length more specifically than this situation. A lot of people are saying, is this like a Laramie Tunsil deal? Let me ask you this. Are there two more polarizing names in this draft going in than him because of his success at Miami in this off-the-field issue? And then will there be a second quarterback? And since we know Mendoza's, destination, Ty Simpson of Alabama, those are two players that probably going to have the most chatter going in, or would you pick a player or two otherwise?
No, I think those are the top two, especially, in terms of first-round picks, where you could see a player like Bain. I think talent-wise, like I said, he's my number one edge rusher. I have him over Bailey. I have him over Arvell Reese. I mean, I don't think he fits every defense. And then teams are going to, I think you have some teams that are going to be concerned about the short arms that really have these strict metrics that they look for players that are going to pass on them. And I don't think the off-field incident, it was known to NFL teams. It's kind of been around for a while. I don't think it's going to have a major impact on his draft stock. I think we see him go from 8 to 12 area, and I think that's kind of where he was before this was released to the public. So to me, it's something that certainly got asked about in interviews, but may not be too overblown. I think the Ty Simpson storyline is going to be one that dominates when you have a weak quarterback class like this one, and after Mendoza, everyone's looking for that second quarterback. Where's he going to go? And if you watch just the first 6 or 8 games of Ty Simpson last year, like, oh, this guy's a number 1 overall pick. And then if you watch the rest of the season, you say, wow, this guy's a 4th round pick. And I think that's what teams have to decide is, do you take the good and say, okay, if we can get that every week, then he's a starter, and you say the bad is really bad, he doesn't have enough starts, only 15 starts. The guys that have gone in the first round, Anthony Richardson, Mitch Trubisky, Dwayne Haskins, with that few starts, have all been busts. I think it's going to be tough. I think we see Ty Simpson in the first, but I think it's going to be pretty late.
He dissects the intel, the tape, breaks it all down like a few others out there. Shane P. Hallam of Draft Sharks. We got a little more with him. We'll get his take on the sleepers, some 757 names. What about the Commanders? Because there's a lot of fans in Washington and around the 757 that follow that team, and a few more with you here on this episode as we talk NFL draft right here on Cova Sports TV. Stick around. More's coming your way right here on 757 Sports Talk.
What makes a life a good one? Is it our adventures? Or the friends we find along the way? Is it the challenges we conquer together? Maybe it's the people's lives we touch every single day. So, what makes a life a good one? You'll have to figure that one out for yourself.
For any athlete, making it to the top sometimes comes with a few steps back. That's why parents count on CHKD Sports Medicine, advanced diagnostics, treatment, and rehabilitation for sports injuries, just for young athletes like yours. With convenient locations across Hampton Roads and a whole team of experts here to keep your favorite player at the top of their game. CHKD Sports Medicine. Learn more at chkd.org or call the CHKD Sports Injury Hotline.
Cova Painting. We don't just paint, we transform spaces. Visit covapainting.com or call 757-550-7357 and mention the Sportsplex for 10% off of projects over $1,000.
Rhodes has a long-running high school and college sports tradition. It's time to give them the spotlight they deserve. This is 757 Saturday Sports Talk. Here is Matt Hatfield.
And we're back here on 757 Sports Talk. Shane P. Hallam of Draft Sharks, so kind to give us another segment of his time here as we break down everything with the National Football League draft that is coming up. Again, you can follow him on the X or Twitter if you still call it at Shane P. Hallam. He's a fantasy football and NFL draft guru for Draft Sharks, which you can find on the web at draftsharks.com, one of the very best in the business. Shane, we were talking about all the different storylines and topics of note. I'd be remiss since there are so many Commanders fans all around Northern Virginia, the 757 and beyond. They have the 7th pick. I see some mocks have guys like Sonny Styles. I see some other mocks have different players. What's your take on the Commanders, and what are they looking for even beyond this first-round pick? How important is it in an NFC East where it feels like, the Giants have a coaching change, Dallas a little bit in flux, and there might be a little more vulnerability with Philadelphia than in the past years? What's your take on where the Commanders sit coming into this thing?
I think they're sitting in a good position having a franchise quarterback and Jaden Daniels, not having to worry about that like some of these other teams. And as you said, being in a division where there's an opening here, I think you really have to hit this draft, and that starts at 7. I think this is Jeremiah Love's floor. I think if he is there at 7, the Commanders take him. Yeah, they signed Rachaad White, Jerome Ford to very minimal 1-year deals just in case they don't get a running back. I think you want to be prepared, but I think it's going to be a position that they're looking at, and Love would be ideal. If he's not there, then to me, you turn to receiver as a possibility to get that number 2 next to Terry McLaurin. If Carnell Tate from Ohio State falls, would be an ideal kind of deep, long threat that would complement what McLaurin does. Maybe they're going to look to bring Ayuk in free agency after the draft, but I think that's a possibility. And then defense, like you said, Sonny Styles would be a really good fit. Frankie Louvu has 1 year left on the deal, so maybe more of a longer-term pick. I think Caleb Downs is a possibility to play, free safety. I think signing Amik Robertson as the nickel guy, Downs would probably fill that position. So I think Washington has a lot of areas they could go. If an edge rusher falls, if Arvell Reese falls or something, I think there's a lot of potential for them. So to me, that gives you a lot of flexibility at 7, and I think they're sitting in a really good position for their needs.
Let me ask you in terms of the trade situation. I know there was like 4 or 5, I think it was, last year in the first round. The Commanders are a team that don't have a second-round pick. I don't believe going in. They have a third-rounder. And there are some mocks that have them maybe taking the running back from an Arkansas, Mike Washington Jr., or even, I know, Katron Allen, who we'll get to, one of the 757 guys from Penn State, among others, because there's a big drop-off, it feels like, after Jeremiah Love in this draft. Do you see teams even beyond Washington, others that might, if they don't have a second-round pick, there could be more movement after round 1, given that you're not so much going up to get a certain guy in the top 10, 15 of the draft, especially if they're gone, that there could be some teams trying to get that depth at a certain position in round 2 if it's there for them?
Yeah, I think this draft lines up well because we had a number of trades last year, where teams moved a first or moved a second in season, where it kind of lines up, where a team like the Commanders could look and say, hey, we don't have a second-round pick. We do need a couple more picks to build the depth on our team. Could we move down? I think that's a possibility. A team like Buffalo as well, kind of the end of the first round, they don't have a second-rounder. The Bears have theirs, so they could maybe look to move down into the early second and pick up something. And then I think you have teams that have a lot of picks. A team like the Steelers, right? The draft's in Pittsburgh. They have multiple third-round picks, 3 of them. They're not. They have another 4th, an extra 4th. Like, they're not going to be able to spend all these picks. So you're going to have to move up at some point or trade them for future picks. So I think there's some alignment potentially with some of these teams that are missing picks and teams that have extra picks that can't necessarily roster all those rookies. We could see a lot more trading this year. I'm predicting maybe more in the 6 to 8 range for the first-round trades this year compared to last year.
Yeah, it's interesting. I brought up the name of Katron Allen, running back from Penn State. He went to Norview High School in Norfolk and finished up his prep career at IMG Academy in Florida. Ironically, the same place that Dalen Everett, defensive back, standout in the SEC for the Georgia Bulldogs, finished up his prep career for starting out at Norview High School in Norfolk. Give me your read on those 2 guys, Allen, the running back from Penn State, and then Everett, the corner from Georgia, who I've seen some grades as high as 2nd and 3rd round on in his case.
I really like Katron Allen. I mean, I think he is going to be a rock-solid pro. You have that consistent production from him, multiple years of double-digit touchdowns for Katron Allen, and he just does everything well. I mean, when you watch Katron Allen on film, you are seeing a player who has the vision, sees the hole, can hit the hole, has a lateral mobility and agility to get to the outside if he needs to get to the outside and get there. I think the one thing that Katron Allen lacks is just kind of that heavy burst and deep speed. Didn't work out before the draft. We didn't get a number on that athleticism. I think that's going to be the one question, what kind of pushes him down the board. But I think there's so many running backs in the NFL that are just solid, always fight for extra yards, always pick up that extra yardage, have the good vision. They don't take these direct hits. I mean, that's Katron Allen. I think he's going to be a contributor at the next level. Dalen Everett, I think is an upside swing. I have him kind of borderline day 2, maybe a late 3rd round grade. Looking at my board right now, he's my cornerback 12 in this class. Just that, 5-star recruit, so you see the athleticism, you see the movement skills, especially the fluid hips and his back pedal, really good. He has those long arms to really play with some of these bigger, stronger receivers and win. Good tackler, which you don't always get from corners. I think it's just a mental side of his game needs caught up a little bit, and needs a little bit better coaching, a little more coaching. So I think if you take Everett round 3, round 4, give him half a year to develop, I think he could turn into a starter, and that upside is certainly there.
Another defensive back from our area in the 757, Karan Prunty from Wake Forest out of IC Norcom High School in Portsmouth. It's funny, some of these guys have been around so long, as you know, well, with the transfer portal and NIL and how things are in college athletics. We see it more even with basketball than football. Guys are playing 5, 6, 7 years, and Prunty was playing back at Kansas in 2020. I believe he had to stop at like NCA&T, finishes up at Wake. Didn't have the productivity in terms of the interceptions and the takeaways and things of that nature, but I'm seeing him as a maybe middle to late round guy and perhaps a steal, dare we say?
I was a big fan of Prunty when he was at Kansas. I thought this was the makings of a player that could, have a big time NFL career, and it just didn't kind of develop, and like you said, ended up kind of falling back and then having a good year at NCA&T and then moved back up to Wake Forest. The pro day was good, 4.45 40 time. He's definitely a player that has that athletic ability, has some of that size and length, coming in 6'1.5". And I think when you watch Prunty, you see a player who has that makeup speed. He can catch up to a corner that if he does get beat, I think a good special teams player potentially. So I have him right now. He's my cornerback 50, which puts him undrafted, but definitely a priority free agent. I think Prunty could make a practice squad and maybe develop into something, with the background and some of the upside that he has.
3 minutes here with Shane P. Hallam of Draft Sharks here on 757 Sports Talk. It's Cova Sports TV. I want to get your take, too, on as we talk about some of the sleepers and steals, surprise names out there, because you're one of the best at highlighting some of those X factors, under the radar guys out there. And, of course, we have a lot of fans around the Commonwealth that follow Old Dominion and James Madison. Oh, by the way, the Dukes had some players help Indiana win a national championship, didn't they? Elijah Surratt comes to mind, the wide receiver for the Hoosiers. Started out with JMU, then had 65 grabs for 830 yards and 15 TDs. He's from the Fredericksburg area in Colonial Forge. Of course, Virginia Tech and Virginia, the ACC schools in our state dominate. How about some names from some of those schools, or if it's a guy like a Surratt, a couple of steals you see, be it in rounds 2, 3, or perhaps even the 4, 5, 6 range that we're talking about on Sundays, even though we're not talking about them going into the draft?
Yeah, I like Surratt certainly as a player who could go day 2 and has the physical skills to match up against press coverage. Really good hitch route guy, and the production was there at James Madison and at Indiana. So I think he's intriguing in the right system where he can be kind of a big X and go at it that way. There's a James Madison receiver, Nick DeGennaro, who I think is going to make a team. 4.4 speed, smaller, but has some return ability. I think he shows that. Had a really good vertical at his pro day. I think there's some explosiveness there with DeGennaro. I think he's going to make a team. Is my wide receiver 68, but certainly a player that I think can make an NFL squad down the line. So he's really interesting. And another wide receiver kind of off that radar that I like a lot, that I think people should pay attention to in the late rounds, is Michael Wortham from Montana. He's super small, 5'8.5", 181 pounds, but dude catches everything, set records there at Montana. He's like super intriguing, I think, as a player who can make the league. So I like the depth of this receiver class. I think there's a lot of those kind of smaller school or G5 players that are going to turn some heads down the line.
I love it. I love it. Before we let you give you a chance to highlight what they can find on Draft Sharks and why they should subscribe, it felt like after the draft was done last year, Shane, all we were talking about was Shedeur Sanders and why did he fall? Why did it happen? What do you think, if you had a crystal ball to kind of forecast, what are we talking about post this draft? Is it someone like a Shedeur slipping in this draft? Is it what a team does? Is it about a certain position? Like, my goodness, the run of offensive linemen or edge rushers. What would you kind of crystal ball, if you had to kind of forecast, what will be kind of the chatter after this draft is done when it concludes?
Yeah, I don't know if I can predict a Shedeur Sanders-esque fall for anyone. But I think we talk about the quarterbacks a lot, and I have a feeling that this quarterback class is going to go a lot higher than we think. Like I said, I think Ty Simpson is going to go round one, but I think Friday, you're going to see 6 quarterbacks go and get drafted on Friday. And we have so many teams that need a quarterback. When you see a Garrett Nussmeier from LSU, Cole Payton, North Dakota State, Drew Allar from Penn State, Taylor Green from Arkansas, even Carson Beck from Miami, I think all those players are going to go in the top 75 picks and are going to go to teams that need a quarterback. And when that happens, everyone blows up. You have some big athletes like Payton and Allar and Taylor Green. I think you have some solid throwers like Nussmeier and Beck. I think it's going to be more quarterback heavy despite only having Mendoza at the top.
Well, there are certainly fantasy football players all over the globe, especially here in the Commonwealth of Virginia and the 757. Tell them what they'll find up there on Draft Sharks, whether it's related to the NFL draft or fantasy football. I see you guys have a Draft Sharks rookie guide.
We do. We updated it last week. It's free. You just put in your email. You get our rookie guide, top 75 skill position prospects for fantasy. We'll update it after the NFL draft and update those rankings if you're doing any type of rookie drafts or fantasy drafting. We have a bunch of tools to help you in your fantasy league this year too. We're unveiling a new kind of auto start feature where if a guy gets hurt and is inactive on Sunday, we'll swap it for you. You don't have to worry Sunday morning about your lineup. You can even set it and forget it. We'll fix it for you. So you can go to Draft Sharks and check all that out.
Yeah, get the intel before your friends do or your competitors, because it's going to help you win your fantasy football league. Check them out on the X at Draft Sharks, and, of course, Shane at Shane P. Hallam on their website, draftsharks.com. Thank you so much, my friend. Enjoy the draft, and I'm sure we'll be talking again soon.
No, thanks so much, Matthew.
You got it. That's Shane P. Hallam here with us previewing the 2026 NFL Draft. Stick around. More's coming your way on this edition of 757 Sports Talk. You're watching with us on COVA Sports TV.
Did you know that the minimum limits in Virginia are $30,000? $30,000 is a lot of money on an individual basis, but if you're involved in a personal injury matter, that's not enough. Here at Williams-Deloitte, we're happy to provide a consultation on the amount of coverage you have in your vehicle. It can be confusing. Not many people understand it. You know you need to have it, but do you have enough? Give us a call today at 757-547-5555 so we can help you prepare in the case of an automobile accident or any other personal injury matter that you or your family may find yourself in.
What is more? Is it more reps, more strength, more stamina? We say it's all of that, but it's greater than just what's in the mirror. It's about improving your mental and physical health. More is a feeling of achievement, fulfillment, confidence. It's looking better, feeling better, being better, and it's our mission to get you there. Because here, you are more. One Life Fitness.
As a banker at Town Bank, we believe that people bank with people, not with banks. You're looking for an actual personal relationship, and that's what you get at our bank. You get that person that gets to know you, gets to know your business, is there for you. I think that is what motivates us, what drives us, and the idea that we are trying to serve others and enrich lives, I think is very true.
Hampton Roads has a long-running high school and college sports tradition. It's time to give them the spotlight they deserve. This is 757 Sports Talk. Here are Matt Hatfield and Coach Ed Young.
And we close out this edition of 757 Sports Talk with the coach, Ed Young. I am Matthew Hatfield. It's now time, Edward, to do our NBA playoff predictions for each of the first round postseason matchups. Let's go through them east to west. You want to go first with East, or you want to go first with the East?
I will go first with the East.
All right, what do you have for the 1-8 matchup, which is Detroit-Orlando? Who wins and how many games?
Detroit 4 straight.
I'm going to say Detroit in 5. You heard Bob talk about the physicality of that series. I think the Magic got themselves righted for at least one victory, perhaps two, in this series. And the Pistons could be this year's Pacers. A lot of people aren't expecting them to do much. Cade Cunningham's back, though, and they had a great year to get that one seed in the East. How about the winner of that series gets the winner of Cavaliers-Raptors, the 4-5. I'm guessing you're going Cleveland. How many?
Yeah, they'll play Cleveland. Cleveland beats Toronto in 5.
I got a sweep. Cavs in 4. 3-6, it's Hawks and Knicks. It's actually, I believe, the shortest favorite on the board, Ed, of the first round series. You'd be amazed to know this, that the shortest favorite, I think, series is the Knicks against the Hawks. That crazy? Because you have the Spurs at minus 1,400, Pistons at minus 590, Thunder at minus 4,500, Celtics at minus 1,000, Rockets at minus 800, Nuggets at minus 335, Cavs at minus 480, and the Knicks at minus 240.
Well, I'm going New York in 7. Bob convinced me to give the Hawks a few more games, and the Knicks will find a way to screw up a couple games, and I think it's going to go 7. Won't be surprised, though, if the Hawks win it.
I will be stunned if they do. As Bob did outline, the size is going to be a problem for the Hawks in this series, and I think New York means business. They'll be great in this series. The next series, when the Celtics probably see them, is going to be their challenge. I'm going to go Knicks in 5. And then your last one is Celtics and the Sixers, the 2-7. How many for Boston?
Boston in 5.
I've got Boston in 5 as well. Western Conference, I'll go first. Thunder, Suns, OKC in a sweep. Give me them in 4. Sam Presti, by the way, former Virginia Wesleyan Marlin, that GM. Go ahead.
Agreed, 4 straight.
Okay, concurs. 4-5, Lakers, Rockets. I was surprised Bob liked the Lakers in that series. I'm going to go Houston in 6. Although I don't trust them, the lack of a point guard, or I should say a dependable point guard. I know Shepard's there. That scares me, but I'm going to go Rockets in 6. No healthy Luka and Reeves is a big factor.
Every day I bounce back and forth. Today I'm going Lakers in 7.
Wow. 3-6 is Nuggets, Wolves. I'm going Denver in 7.
I agree, but easily this is the one where if Minnesota wins, I don't think anybody's surprised, but I go Denver 7.
And Spurs, Blazers. Bob convinced me this will be a longer series than I thought. I was thinking Spurs in 5, but I'll go Spurs in 6 against Portland. I think they'll make them sweat a bit.
You know what? We're thinking alike, but you've liked Portland for a while too. I just think they're not that good, but I'm going to go 6 also for San Antonio.
Okay. That's going to close out this episode of 757 Sports Talk. It was a lot of fun for our guests that include Bob Rathbun of the Atlanta Hawks, as well as Shane P. Hallam and Marcus Kahn. We thank all of you, the loyal viewers, listeners, contributors. We'll do it with you next week as April rolls along on 757 Sports Talk. Have a great one, everybody. See you there.